stories. I'm sorry. I'm kind of tired. I've been working all
No,
day.
yeah, that's all good. I know a fair amount about that as well.
Well,
Yeah.
let's have a little back and forth before we go over it though, because I want to like just make sure
No,
we're all
yeah.
on the same page about shit. So I want to go over like a couple of the facts about that. To
Yeah.
my knowledge, we can all agree that is unconstitutional. I'm
Without a
going
doubt.
to all.
No,
Okay,
no,
that
no,
we can
okay,
all.
okay. I'll say this right now. The part that makes that the most unconstitutional as well is I'm pretty sure it's literally in the Constitution for anyone within the confines of their own home to build their own firearm, correct?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's fact check that just like real quick. We
Oh
can
yeah.
just Google. We can just like Google that if need be. Um, let me. I mean, like the reason I personally just one of the many reasons I disagree with it is I mean I milled out my own low receiver for my AR-15. Like it started off as a brick of aluminum. So it's like one reason why I'm so against it. That and it's an infringement in the Second Amendment, which pisses me off too. But so anywho, okay, so we can go over that topic. I'll make like a little list just to kind of keep on track.
What state are you from, might I ask?
I am from Texas.
God bless, brother.
God bless.
Yep. God bless,
I'm
brother.
Canadian, but I did spend some formative years in Washington State, and I experienced some
The American
Perfect.
experience.
That's actually
good
really
old
good.
freedom, some good old freedom.
He's
So.
the most American dude you ever met. Like, he could fool anyone.
I'm actually I'm it's in the future that I'm planning to immigrate to the United States, like pretty much as soon as possible. So
For
I would
Canadian,
recommend.
he's pretty American.
That is true. That is understandable. Well, we can adopt you in our American family. Anyway, all jokes aside, why is this? Oh, because I don't have it plugged in. It's like why the fuck is like really
when you
confused.
say you milled out your lower,
It started off as a brick of aluminum.
so you got the Ghost Gunner from not Hoffman Tactical, from what is it? You know,
I'm an apprentice gunsmith with 2 years of being under a master gunsmith. That is
perfect.
Yes.
I'm actually to kick off my my immigration stuff and just to give me like a bit of a foundation for the future as well. When I'm going into the Canadian military, and hopefully my MOS is weapons repair, so I'll have a fair amount of knowledge.
I would definitely take an armorer's
gunsmithing.
course if you're gonna do that.
Well, because in the military they'll do that for me. Like to do that MOS, they're gonna give me an armorer's course.
Understandable. Hey, Sheriff, we're still sticking with the having that first like 30 seconds or so of that song I sent you at the beginning of the podcast like video, right?
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
gonna put it
just
up
making
if
sure.
I get fucking taken down. We'll see. We'll figure it out.
It's Billy Joe Schaefer. You shouldn't. If need be, I can find you some more obscure shit that will not get taken down. I don't think it will.
I'm gonna run
Worst
it
case
until I get
scenario-
told not to.
Worst case scenario, they may try to say like we're not eligible for monetization for videos we use it on. Worst case scenario. But I mean, I don't know. If
We'll
need
cross that
be,
bridge when we come to it.
hell, dude. I mean, I'm learning acoustic guitar right now. I'll make a fucking cover, post it on YouTube, and then it's fair use.
Hell yeah.
So I'll just fuck it. But anywho, so beyond just Biden sent to ban 80% lowers, which that what that include?
Also, he's
Which
under the pretext name of Ghost Guns, which
yes,
you couldn't see my quotation marks, but
I'm aware of your sarcasm.
he he the ATF, you know, all the wine moms and lawyers, whatever else.
Guns against moms. Moms against guns.
They also deemed it I don't know, convenient for them to also lob in guns that have had the serial numbers filed off of them, and also just guns found at crime scenes in general, considered as ghost guns.
Oh yeah, dude, that shit where they scratch
Yeah.
the serial number off.
Yeah, so that completely skews the numbers of 80% lowers and just homemade guns in general, right?
I
Yeah.
have another question too. What do y'all think about talking about how BLM in America is politicized and turned from a thing that would be good to something that's just politicized by the
I'd-
radical
I don't think
radical
it
left?
would be good. Period. You may have a different opinion on that, but I think as an organization, period, it's
But we can both agree. We can both find common ground and say that BLM is over politicized and is turned from something that could have been like a civil rights organization to
Mhm.
it's just a way for the left in America to raise funds for their political agenda.
You could say that. I don't even. To be fair, I'm not even sure it has anything. Sure, it influences politics, but I don't think it funds politics. I think it funds whoever runs BLM and for their Lamborghinis and mansions or whatever else. And then you still have like motherfuckers in Harlem or wherever else still living in
Fucking
like
poverty,
complete
people
ruins.
dying and shit.
Yeah, exactly. And so people donate all this money to Black Lives Matter, the organization, and
It's just ridiculous.
no money is distributed to the people they claim to support or claim to be existing for, right? So
How by the way, Sheriff, how much footage do we already have from the previous sessions where you've been recording with other people?
Like 40 minutes. That's just
That's
usually like a
pretty good.
one-on-one with just me and a good friend where we just kind of do stupid autistic shit. And so I'm thinking about uploading those ones on my personal channel and keeping these ones specifically for
Alright.
the actual channel podcast.
also, how old are you, Red? Just
I am 18.
okay, so I'm like 2 years older than you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get accustomed to the people I'm speaking with.
That's definitely a good thing.
It
That's a
gives you
great thing.
perspective of like
No, yeah,
where they're coming
exactly.
from and what their
Do we
viewpoint
want to
would be.
also? I have 3 topics just written down because I like to take notes because I do have we're trying to talk to each other, get to know each other. I do have depression-induced short-term memory loss.
Dory.
Okay.
Yes and no.
I'm just
not-
retarded, so.
Well, so here's the deal, right? So basically, like, the best way to explain it is, I may forget to like get my wallet or something when I remind myself 50 times get your damn wallet, or I may forget that somebody messaged me. Like just kind of it's little things that add up, and it's just like how is he forgetting this shit?
No.
And it's just it's hard to explain. It can at times affect my ability to speak. I don't think that's why I'm writing down with this notepad like all the topics we're talking about, and then so I can kind of remind myself. But once I get going, I'll be able to like I won't have any problems. So if I have 3 topics written down so far. So Biden's attempt to ban 80% lowers, which includes polymer 80s. Are y'all aware what those are?
Oh yeah, I am.
Okay.
At least.
Alrighty. Talking about moms against guns and how it's a what
Joke.
Is it?
It's a joke.
It's just a joke. Do we want to have how BLM has been politicized, or do we want to just not have that in there?
I would keep that out because I mean
Alrighty.
I have my own opinions, but I don't feel really comfortable sharing them to the world just yet.
Understandable, and that's completely fine. How about we have some lighthearted stuff like maybe how has country and western music changed over the past 40 or 50 years?
I was gonna suggest the whole meme, like the meme that's coming up now, reject modernity, embrace tradition.
Yeah.
Or like the whole like Kitsune, you saw what I.
Oh yeah, I
posted
know.
on
That's
the-
like that's my life.
that's my jam, bro. Yeah.
Alright.
Just fucking, I don't
Yeah,
know.
we can have that.
Red, if you've seen it, but like it's just a bunch of here, hold on.
It's like comparing the Gucci ARs to like the
No, it has nothing to do with
no, no,
guns.
no.
Not
Oh,
even
okay.
terrible.
I saw those memes, right? It was like embrace reject modernity, embrace tradition. It shows like an old style M16A4 versus like an M4 carbine, like it's all kitted out and shit.
Look in podcast topics.
Oh,
added
that kind of that kind of stuff. Okay.
you.
Yeah, no, I've
just
seen.
the
I
whole
actually saw it
idea,
the other day.
the whole idea where like maybe 20 years ago, like you'd have your great grandfather, your great great grandfather living on a homestead, self-sufficient, not holding the government's hand or anything at all. And then his son, your grandfather or your father, being like, you know what, Dad, I'm going to the city because screw this place. And then nowadays it's us wanting to go back to that simpler life because this
Dude, that's me.
modern life is a
that's
fucking dystopia.
Yeah, I'm tired of the
modern life
city.
is absolutely dystopia. I think like we're gonna have some like deep ass like philosophical fucking like deep ass philosophical.
Natural freeform conversation. Let's have it.
Yes, yes.
And then there's some video and some Instagram reels that really embody those as well that I put in the podcast.
I've seen. That is a good point. There's a lot of just like. Oh man, I feel like we're definitely gonna piss some people off with this podcast, but
Oh.
like as whatever.
Bro, that's my whole Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't-
Wait, how many
I'm
people
gonna-
have actually gotten mad at your Instagram?
The other
'Cause-
day, I that with me having the whiskey, the cigarello, and the gun, someone's like, "Hey,
Okay.
bro, this looks peaceful as fuck. I do this too, but the way you kind of like set it up makes it look like you're about to off yourself when you're done."
Oh my god.
I
That's actually
mean-
funny.
I didn't get those vibes, but that's more funny than anything.
I really just use social media for shit posting and just to get reactions out of people because I like to see people get upset about things over the internet. It's
No,
like,
yeah.
bro, it's the internet. It's shits for giggles. Like, it's not that serious.
All right. All right,
Um,
so I've got those two topics talking about moms against gun percent lowers that I personally like. I really want to touch on and
Yeah,
why they
I
piss
can
me
do
off.
I can do that. Yeah.
All right, cool. Do we want to have some lighthearted shit, or is this gonna be the part of the podcast where we're just basically bashing the ATF and shit?
The lighthearted
we'll do
shit. I
that.
was just
Every
gonna do
episode,
the-
essentially.
the lighthearted shit. I was just gonna do the whole return to tradition thing.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
more
fair
like
enough.
a meme.
That can
Yeah.
be kind of like your topic. I'm thinking about. I kind of want to talk about Ruby Ridge and Waco this episode.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anything.
We're definitely we're definitely not going to
Let
be
us
monetized.
indoctrinate you into our extremist mindset, as they might say.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
gonna type in Ruby.
Bro, I'm
Ridge
fairly
and
certain I'm already on
Waco.
a Canadian watch list. My dad sent me like a parcel like 4 weeks ago, and it still hasn't gotten here. So that's kind of concerning.
All right. So okay, what about you, Kitsune? What are you thinking?
About like what topic to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, wherever the conversation really goes, I just want it to be like you're just sitting down with your friends and just cutting the shit. I don't want it to have like a really script per se.
Yeah, it's just I'm just following a basic like these are the things I want to touch
Oh,
on
yeah.
to remind me, and I feel like
And
once
if-
we get
yeah,
into it, like once we get into it, like after like the topics you talked about, we start getting naturally into conversation. That's when it just kind of heads where
Trails
it's
off.
supposed
No,
to be.
Yeah.
that's exactly how the Joe Rogan thing is. Joe Rogan starts with a question, and then they
And then it
talk
kind
about
of
that
it
topic,
brings people in,
and then
yeah,
it trails
that's-
out. Yeah.
Yeah. So with Ruby Ridge and Waco, what am I allowed to not say and to say? Like when it comes like am I allowed to say that the ATF are a bunch of puppy poppers and that they only serve to oppress the people? Am I allowed to say stuff like that?
As last I checked, that's your God-given right to speak however you feel about the government organization.
No, I know. it's your podcast and I mean I'm the co-host.
I don't like
and
the
all.
ATF
but-
either, bro. Go for it.
I know. It's just like I'm only the co-host, you're the host, and you're running the damn channel, and it's like because the shit I'm gonna say is like they will demonetize us if we ever get monetization in the first place. They will demonetize our asses for the shit I'm gonna say,
That's fine. By that point, we'll already have like a following because we already have a following.
and we can
enough.
just do a Patreon. We can do an OnlyFans where it's just me taking apart guns and putting them back together.
Yeah, ASMR channel where it's just gunsmithing. You guys ever heard of Gunsmith Cats?
Yes.
No,
Oh, dude, that's my
you,
shit.
You only mention it every other day we talk.
I'm obsessed with it, bro. I got stickers on my.
Bro, I've seen how many? Well, there's like 3 episodes. I
There's
think.
only 3 episodes. Yeah, it's an OVA.
Yeah, so I've seen 2 of them, but I haven't seen the last one.
Bro, they're all on YouTube. I like the dub better.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Sam.
Okay.
No, I watched it all on a 9 anime. Anyway, let's kick it off. Let's go.
All right.
All right, did we do an intro or is it?
Oh,
should we
dude, I've
talking
been
for, like,
recording
like
for the
intro?
past 15 minutes.
Oh,
Wait, really?
okay.
Yeah.
He can edit that out. That's
Yeah,
whatever.
we'll just fair enough.
Um,
We had that be like a blooper.
yeah, for sure.
But like, okay, but seriously, Biden's ban on attempt of ban because it's unconstitutional. Well, it's bullshit. It's not law
Well,
yet.
he did ban it, I think, didn't he?
Here's the
Well,
thing
so-
is, hold up real quick. I'm gonna say that they could rewrite the law to become whatever they want. Like one day you might have a legal gun, and they might rewrite it to now say your gun's legal and it's not gonna be grandfathered because they could do that. And so it's like that's a
Yeah.
slippery slope because they could pick
No,
and
I'm
choose
gonna
at will.
correct you. Sniping pregnant women. I'm gonna correct you on that. That is actually something the ATF has done.
Oh yeah.
And gassing children too. You can't forget that. Don't
Yep.
forget Waco.
Waco. Never
Okay.
forget.
I don't know none of that shit, but
Well, if you want, I can give you like a quick rundown. So, like, basically, there was these people in Waco, Texas, called the Branch Davidians. They were a bunch of like random cultists who were like, the best way to explain them is extremist Christians, like the type of
Okay.
Christians who are like, if you're homosexual,
Far Cry
stoning you
5
the street.
Peggy's essentially.
Yes, exactly like that, like Far Cry 5 level, like ridiculous shit, right?
Okay. Okay.
So basically,
So I like
um,
so we like these guys then, right?
not really. They were kind of assholes.
They didn't
like,
do anything wrong at the time, like illegal. Morally,
They were
yeah,
just
but illegal, no.
morally, but legally, not really. So, like,
Okay.
but what the Branch Davidians
So
did,
tell me what they did like legally wrong or morally wrong, and then tell me the legal shit after.
Morally,
Okay.
just their beliefs, I'd say.
legally, apparently the head of the Branch Davidians was, I think he was caught either manufacturing or selling guns illegally without a permit.
Okay.
So the FBI and the ATF essentially wanted to raid the Branch Davidian compound. It's a full-on compound, like this big ass, like, I
It
think
looks like that
4-story
map
house.
from Rainbow Six, that compound map with the American flag and all the beds. It looks
Yes.
just like that. It's literally modeled after that.
It's
Okay.
literally like Waco in like, it's like ATF simulator in Rainbow Six,
Yeah.
but except there's no dogs that are being shot.
Oh no.
No, but like
So-
in all seriousness, but basically, they were straight up just, the ATF was trying to raid the compound and they were just getting shot. Like one dude got like shot like 3 times by an AK by one of the Branch Davidians, and it eventually came down to, I think it was like 51 days is what it came down to.
It was a siege.
It was a full-out siege. I mean, it was like old school, like medieval era shit, except for like moats, ladders, and like, like alligators in the moat. It was a whole bunch of like cultists with AK-47s, like M16s and shit, like shooting ATF agents.
Yeah, they were
but-
trying to break in, and they weren't doing anything peaceful at the time. Like the ATF wasn't trying to like keep a good negotiation with them. They were just like, leave us the fuck alone. You don't have any right. Just get the fuck off our land. Leave us the fuck alone. And they were like, no, I hear what you're saying, but fuck you. And then they started running tanks through the living room, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? There's children in here. Stop. As they're lighting the building on
Yeah.
fire. And a lot of people burned to death. A lot of kids too.
Yeah.
Not even just that, but and supposedly there's an FBI agent who came out and said, "Oh well, apparently David, I think it was David was the let me Google that real quick. The leader of the Branch Davidians, I believe his name was David. David something. David Koresh, I think is what his name was. And basically what ended up happening is they said, "Oh, well, he started the fire." Well, it's really unknown. There isn't necessarily, apparently there's not any real evidence. It's kind of ongoing debate. But in my opinion, even if that were the case, the ATF has no reason to spew tear gas into a compound that's full of children. I mean, if it were just the adults who were shooting at the ATF, that's one thing. That's still immoral in my opinion, but it's not the same level as gassing children.
Yeah.
I mean, gassing children, that's some like Nazi level shit. I mean,
And
I hate to say it, but
burning them
it is.
alive
I mean,
too.
burning them
Yeah.
alive. I mean, like,
Well,
people
how else
think
do
this
you
shit
get rid of
doesn't
the
happen.
evidence?
that is sadly the truth. That is just how else do you get rid of the evidence but gas and burn the damn children? I mean, it's
No,
just
yeah.
fuck. But I mean,
What
It-
year
it's-
was this?
1990s.
Waco. Yeah, it was. I think it was 1980s, 1990s. It's been a long time since Waco. But I mean, saying that, it's just, it kind of goes off into this whole government overreach with, saying, well, you can't sell and manufacture firearms without us knowing. Well, why? Why is that? I mean, the Second Amendment specifically states shall not be infringed upon. So why are you infringing upon our
Because they're
rights?
tyrants.
Tyrants. That is
They want
the clear
they
thing.
want to be the big dogs on the block. And if anybody else, and this is coming from an outsider, well, I mean, I live in Canada, so I pretty much live in a tyranny. But
That is true. Your
well,
prime
actually,
minister literally did blackface. So
no, not even that has nothing to do like that. Just has to do with the fact that he's a racist. But his tyranny really started showing when he literally came into power. He probably did one good thing, which was federally legalized pot, which I mean is debatable on how good that was, because well, I mean, there's two sides to it. Sure, like it's not that big of a deal, but like drug wise, but then the after effect was, oh well, now so since all the druggies and everything else, they don't have to be worried about being arrested for pot, so now they can do all this other harder shit, right? I don't know. That's a whole other rabbit hole that I wasn't gonna get into.
exactly, you're talking about like going from pot to things like opiates and
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
various different types of shit that
So
will actually kill you.
yeah, so druggies, instead of being like potheads, because well they already are potheads, but now that it's legal, they get all these other illegal things that are way harder. Anyway,
I feel like there's
but
probably
what I no, sorry, you go.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I feel like there's probably a good chunk of people, probably in Canada, who are like just doing pot for the sake of like the excitement of doing something illegal, you know. And then once that happened and it's legalized, like, oh well, I'm not really like hardcore enough. I got to do something more now. Like I gotta stand out because I'm quirky, you know.
I mean maybe in like high school or like middle school, but like as adults, like I know for a fact like I know there's a lot of old guys that I've known who just smoke weed because it helps with their muscles or whatever. Like, because in the northern Ontario is just mostly like a lot of miners. Like, I don't mean like in school people. I mean like people digging in the earth and shit. Like miners.
Yeah.
And um,
Hey, Tuna, we're
yeah,
recording right now.
that's like most of the economy up here. So a lot of them smoke weed because it helps with their sore body. That's pretty much it. But the trail that I was intending to go down was uh shortly. It was either before or after the whole COVID incident. I don't know if that's gonna get you demonetized or not. Um, just that word.
I feel like half the
Tru
topics we're probably going to go over in this podcast are probably going to get demonetized.
It's
At
all
this point in
good.
time, COVID is the least of our worries.
That is true.
Trudeau put a more strict weapon bans on Canada. So Canada already had pretty strict weapon bans, but now he put even more of them on, right? Which I don't know if you guys have ever paid attention in history class, but anytime a tyranny is about to do some fucked up shit, one of their first things they do is they disarm the populace, that's what he did.
Hmm.
And
An armed
then
populace is a populace that cannot as easily be controlled. The
exactly,
Nazis actually did the same thing in Germany.
yep,
Firearm ownership was made all but illegal to those who were not like a part of Hitler's inner circle, like high-ranking Nazi officials.
hmm
Um, I mean, it's just history
look
repeats
at
itself, but people do not
look at
like.
China. China's the same way. Soviet Russia was the exact same. It's
History
this as
repeats
soon as
itself.
as soon as your governing body takes away your right to defend yourself, whether that be firearms or, I mean, in this day and age, I don't know what else you would use. Uh, that's pretty much gives the government free ground to just run your shit in. So,
You know, I
and
can't.
that's exactly what happened. So he instituted all these mandates and restrictions on everybody's lives, and to the point where the suicide rates were succeeding the COVID death rates because everybody was stuck inside, right, just doing nothing. And then everybody started revolting, whatnot, the whole trucker protest bullshit that was going on. And in Ottawa, nobody, the news will never tell you this, but there's footage of it. Uh, the RCMP, which are the Royal Mounted Police, they showed up to Ottawa and started pulling truckers out of their vehicles at gunpoint, right, using their C7s. Because I don't know if you guys know, Canada doesn't use the M4 or M16. They use basically the 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 stupid cousin equivalent. So when the militaries were modernizing, Canada was like, we need a weapon that can compete with our competitors. What do we do? Let's just copy what the Americans did, but make it a piece of shit weapon, and that's what they did. So that's the C7. But yeah, they were pulling out truckers at gunpoint with their shitty rifles, and nobody will ever fucking tell you that. And it's honestly, I'm so shocked when I tell people that I want to immigrate to the States. It's like, why? Why do you want to go? Canada's so much great, free healthcare, blah blah blah. Well, I mean, sure, it's free healthcare, but
At what cost?
yeah, it's at the cost of my taxes, and it's at the
And I
cost of
mean, make no
it's
mistake,
so
America is
basically,
not
I'm
perfect.
paying for the I'm paying for the druggie that's overdosed for like 5 times in a row now, and then that's just paying. Bro, he should just. It's gonna sound cool as fuck, but like, I'm a bit of a Darwinist.
Based.
It red pilled. If sorry, like if you're purposely putting yourself in that situation where you're ODing 5 times in a row, I don't really think you're contributing all that much to society, and I think you should just be kind of left to your own devices.
I'm a true
I
libertarian.
don't need to be paying for your recovery like that. So
I
that's
agree.
why I don't like this idea of quote unquote free healthcare. And even like for all you Americans listening, or all you lefties or whatever the fuck, I don't know why you would tune into this. Well, actually, no, I'm glad that you're tuning into this. I want you to listen.
Exactly. We can have discourse.
Um, if you think that the Scandinavian countries are like true socialist and have all this, like, oh, their healthcare, blah blah blah, their healthcare is pretty much just as shit as Canada's. Okay, it's consists of long wait times, and basically you only get good care when you're on the verge of death. Okay, if you need like a surgery or for something like that's excruciatingly painful, but you're not dying from it, you'll be put on a wait list. And in Scandinavia, basically, I think it's like 70 to 80% of the population use privatized healthcare. So just a little FYI for you people listening.
And I mean, the thing about privatized versus public healthcare. I mean, here's the deal. America's healthcare is not good. I do not believe anybody can contest that fact, right or left. We do not have good healthcare in this country. You want a ride in an ambulance? That's gonna be $4,000 to $8,000. I think is anywhere it can vary from, and that's
Hmm.
ridiculous. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just insanity.
No,
And I
yeah.
mean, there's not even that, but there are people who do not have the money to pay for cancer treatments who are just dying of cancer.
Hmm.
It's a very dog eat dog healthcare system. I mean, it's ridiculous. Saying that, I believe the government should be held accountable for having it to where, oh, you're poor, well, you can just die of your cancer and not get any help. I believe healthcare should be privatized, just a hell of a lot cheaper. I mean,
Yes, that's
regulated
yes.
regulated to the point where you can have a minimum wage job but still pay for your health care, or
And
have a
that's
system set up to where you can take care of yourself, because the thing is, we need people working and flipping burgers in our McDonald's. We need people, you know doing yard work for other people.
We need
I mean,
farmers. We need
exactly,
truckers. We
farmers.
need, yeah. It's not
Exactly.
like
Not
just
the idea of,
not
oh,
to
you want to get
demean what you
money,
not
but
to
like,
demean what you're saying, but like it's
yeah,
not just the conventional 9 to 5 in your cul-de-sac. It's people you don't see. It's the truckers.
It's the
Your
people that let
pilots
you
in your
live
plane.
that white collar lifestyle.
Exactly.
exactly. And I mean,
So
the idea that you need to go to college and you need to get a college degree to do well, that doesn't sit right with me. The idea that you want to get a college degree to better yourself, to maybe make more money than other people would be getting, that's kind of what I'm doing, right? I'm
it's
going to pursue. I'm actually currently, even though I'm still in high school, I'm pursuing my associate's degree through a dual credit program at my high school.
mhm, that's
Um,
awesome.
but saying that, I believe that if you are just one of those people in the background, whether you're a restaurant worker, whether you're a trucker, whether you're these jobs that are not white collar. I mean, we're talking blue collar factory workers, that kind of stuff. You should be getting paid enough, or to cover your health expenses. Not, oh, you just don't get sick or you die. I mean, that's just not a healthcare system. That's just it's anarchy at that point. What's
Another
what's
I'll
thing
even the
too
point?
is they say with innovation, with improvement comes like more cost, until eventually it's so cheap everyone else can afford it. And so, do you think that has to do with a part of us innovating so rapidly as a human species to the point where the regular average person, like blue collar worker like us, can't inherently afford good treatment because the way everything is rapidizing and it's I just said the fucking word.
so I'll backstep a little bit. So what you said about how this idea that people need school to do well and whatever else, I think that idea kind of came out of an era where they kind of post Great Depression, right? Where everybody was pretty conservative with their spending and where it was all about I need to get the most best paying job to be able to provide for my family and whatever because that's literally what you had to do, right? Whereas, and then because Sheriff, what you said about how modernization happens so fast, so because you had that generation of so much progress, right? That kind of need to go to school, it was like a fuse. It just went out like super fast. So now we have this kind of now we're like a stagnant pool of water. It's
Yeah,
just it
It's
there
everybody
we have
has a
we have
useless
some
degree.
ripples. We have some ripples, right? But there's not as much flow as there was in the rapids that were 20, 30, 50 years ago,
It's
right?
I
slowing down.
I agree. Yeah, because I have a cousin who essentially boiled it down. He's a little bit older than me. It scared me because I was talking and we were catching up a little bit, and he was telling me, I was asking him, hey, like, you're going to college? Oh, for what? He's like, poli science. I'm like, okay, political
Holy
science. What kind of like job can you get with that? He's like, not really anything. But I was like, don't you think, like, what if you went into like a field that maybe you could get a good paying job after that? And he's like, well, I have a friend who has a degree in engineering, but sometimes he could go for months without contracts. I'm like, yeah, but that field's also really competitive. And when you do make a decent contract, it's good money. But it is a stupidly competitive thing, so that's not really fair to say. Look at it like, oh, engineering would make money, and he's not making money. It's like because there's more to it than just face value. And basically, I was like, so look, what do you want to do? Because you don't want to live in an apartment the rest of your life because you never pay that off, and you don't want to be 90 years old worried about making rent. And so you eventually want to pay it. You should want a house that you could eventually own in a few years. And I was
And
like,
it's
so
easy to get a house.
yeah,
Sorry.
no,
It's
so no, you're good. And so I said to
it
him, so you got to break down how much money does it take to get the kind of house you want, and what kind of job pays that, and how do you get that job? And he was like, well, I don't think I really need to like go to school to make a lot of money because like look at our grandparents, look at like people of their generation, they don't have any good education. Some of them are high school dropouts and they own their houses. Like, yeah, but back then they bought their houses for like $10,000, $20,000, and now they're
Inflation and
yeah.
stagnating wages have made it to where
That's
basically it's impossible to buy a house.
that's what I try to
yeah.
explain to him too. Is
So
like you need to get a decent job for that kind of stuff. And he's like, no, you don't, because we're in the same situation they are, is where we're rapidizing and innovating so much that we need people who aren't inherently naturally skilled that will just pick up anybody. I'm like, no, they don't do that. That's not the case anymore. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing what the fuck I'm doing now. Like a lot of us wouldn't. We'd be making a lot
Hmm.
more than what we are. And it was the lack of work ethic from him that really scared me, because he kept saying like he has all these really proficient skills in different areas, but he doesn't want to do anything with them. He's like, it boils down to him saying, I could do this and that, but I'm really just lazy.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how like capitalism and landlords are like causing the issues. And I'm like, no, no, it's just like all those
Bro.
videos on YouTube said, college ruined
No,
you.
yeah.
No.
And it's not even the landlords. I mean, the thing about it is landlords
My
do have
parents
to
are
work
landlords.
quite
They
a
don't.
bit.
Yeah, it's. I
Exactly.
know how
They
it
have to
works.
work to maintain their homes. The
It
thing
costs
about it,
money.
the problems there are, I mean, a million problems with the American housing market. I mean, you've got these corporations, right, who are going out buying like hundreds of houses, like just cheap houses, and making like Airbnbs out of them, right?
Hmm.
And making it to where people
Yes.
who are near or on the poverty line are unable to get a house. And it is definitely a big problem in America. But to say that that is a flaw with capitalism, I wouldn't really say so. Free market capitalism is a great idea. The problem is it all loops back to government overreach. You've got
Hmm.
governments bailing out these corporations who are just
Like the
doing
airliners.
stupid shit. Exactly. I mean, or bailing out like large corporations like McDonald's. McDonald's just they basically got caught
With their
um
pants down.
they got caught with their pants on 100%. And it basically it all loops back around to if the government would just quit bailing out these corporations, and true capitalism, which is if you make a stupid decision as a business and piss off your customers, you're going to go under. If we went back to that old ideal, then America would have a lot of its problems just taken out. I mean, but it all just comes back down to the government just is sticking their nose in free market capitalism, and it's no longer free market capitalism. It's whoever is the biggest and whoever has the most politicians bought out at that moment.
Yeah. I'll backstep because I said that it was easy to get a house. What I was trying to say, like what you said about the Airbnb. So I've been looking into this trend recently where people have been taking like those big sheds, those big yard sheds or like vans or like there's a big movement going around where people just are basically it's like the downsized living, the tiny houses, all that stuff. So sure it's uh like a conventional house in like a cul-de-sac like and I'll know this for sure because in Canada the housing market is I think it the housing market rose by like 13% in like a year, which is fucking retarded. And that's just the rest of our inflation as well. But if you can manage to get like scrounge up money to buy land and then invest in that land to like do Airbnb or whatever, that's passive income that you have
Yeah.
while you're doing your other shit. That's kind of what I was referring to,
If I
which
had 10 grand right now, I would buy like it's like an acre for like I think $5,000 and
okay.
or $2,000 up in the coast in a really nice touristy area up in the California coast, and it's right along where you could actually it's on a hill and you overlook the ocean and there's houses below you. And I would rent some property up there, get one of those shipping container houses or like a tiny house, and I would set it up there and rent it out as an Airbnb and let it pay
No,
itself
yeah.
off.
I would oh not that I would I will in the future. So I've been like I said I'm hopefully looking to immigrate to the United States and some states I've been looking at. I was looking at Montana originally. So
Yo,
I've
let's
I've
go.
spent
Same.
well
Yellowstone.
I've spent 3 years in Washington, so I have a kind of a grasp on what it's like there. It's nice. It's definitely like a vacation spot, but and then Montana as well. but a place that I'm really kind of keeping an eye on closer is Wyoming. Because actually, I looked at the difference between Montana and Wyoming. Wyoming has cheaper land, not even housing prices, prices compared to Montana. And
Really?
for my whole talk about Airbnb, tiny house, whatever, all that shit, um, Wyoming seems like it would be a good spot. Not only that, has some of the best gun rights in the country. So
Wyoming's the
very
move.
very strong standard gun laws, and I'm pretty sure I think it might have been Wyoming or Oklahoma, but in one of those states there was a county where when the federal government banned a certain amount of rifles, some kind of rifle or some kind of dumb shit, the county just said no, we're not gonna. If any federal agents come into this county and try to buy back or um, take possession of people's rifles, we will arrest you and or shoot you on the spot.
I
So,
love my country so fucking much. Why can't more states be like that?
well, you say that coming from California. I don't know why you would expect that from California. I'll be fair. I mean, California, gorgeous state. There's a lot of good stuff there.
If California
As
wasn't
long as you're
so
not in Los Angeles because it smells like piss.
if California wasn't so like liberal, it's
Liberal?
all because of San Francisco, San Jose, San Diego. That's where the most people are. Fucking Los Angeles alone has 17 million people, and the rest of
Yeah.
California, I shit you not, it's all farmland. It's all agriculture. We produce so
Mm.
much fucking crops, dude. It's ridiculous. And we
I'm
got the
pretty
people
sure
who
you
don't know
guys.
shit about like country living or like agriculture or farm and what it takes to go in, and you got these fucking city yuppies working two jobs to just to maintain their $2,000 fucking studio apartment up in San Francisco, liberal
Hmm.
Cisco, and they're voting on what the fuck the farmers have the right to do. It's like, you dumb motherfucker.
Oh yeah,
which
it's
just doesn't seem ideal because I mean, think about it this way. I mean, these people control the food supply in in their state. They should have a say in how things are done. If some regular dude in the city who has like no idea what the hell is actually happening in the northern part of California where all the farmland is and all the farmers are, if he's voting on something like, oh, let's tax the farmers more, and it's driving farmers under and affecting the food supply. I mean, this is just a hypothetical example. I'm
no,
not
no,
sure
no.
if
You
this
don't get it,
happened.
dude. It's because the farm equipment contributes to global warming or some dumb shit like that.
But see, it's ridiculous. So if you go after these people for doing that, you're starving yourself. I mean, you're literally contributing to the to world hunger. I mean, it's just it
No,
blows
no,
my
no.
mind.
They won't starve themselves. They'll just have to pay more at the grocery store because all their food's gonna come from China.
I
And then it's
mean,
gonna cost like three times as much, and then they're gonna blame capitalism. It's like, you dumb motherfucker.
Yes.
Do you know how much
Thank
shit goes
it's
you.
into getting this food
it's
over
Oh
all
my
here?
a part
God.
of the system.
Ugh.
That's what
I
I.
was born in
A
it,
way to backtrack.
molded by it.
A way to backtrack. I also said to my cousin, you realize like the reason why like maybe rent and also like things, just things in general at the stores are going up is because of not only the inflation for all the money that was just printed last year in America, but because of the cost of things just going up in general. Like, we're getting nicer things than we had 50 years ago, and it costs
Hmm.
money to make things nicer, and you have to break even. And so you got to remember, from the time this thing leaves its fucking warehouse, there's manufacturing processes that go into it. You got to pay those people to make it. You got to pay the people to load it on the truck. You got to pay those truck drivers. You got to pay for their gas and everything else, and you got to pay for them
Hmm.
to take it to the cargo ship. You got to pay the dock workers. You got to pay take it to the airport, pay the airport workers, pay the pilots, pay the
Yeah.
ship. All this shit
And
adds up.
don't even get me started on all the fuel that consumes,
Oh yeah.
which by the way, the fuel prices are going up, and that's
All
gonna
these
make everything
people,
else cost more.
Jesus, it's my favorite thing. It's the favorite counter argument to them when you explain it that way, and then you go, maybe global warming wouldn't be so prevalent if we didn't live in such a high value capitalistic society, and we stopped valuing materialistic things, and we went back to more of a humble lifestyle
Yeah.
and be more self reliant.
Yeah, but I want my TikTok. I want to
I
do my
want
Fortnite
my
dance.
Starbucks. I want my Louis Vuitton. I got a side question here from Tuna. He was asking, is Texas the new California?
I mean, this is coming from a Texan's perspective. So I live pretty close to the border, and I've kind of been back and forth from the border to Central Texas for a while now, and I've lived here my whole life. In my opinion, no, not really. We're actually heading, in my opinion, the complete opposite direction. What with the recent restrictions put on abortion, um, and along with
that was a
constitutional.
Chad move from Texas, by the way.
That was an interesting move. That was certainly an interesting move on
That
Abbott's
was well, you know,
behalf.
100%. That was to discourage Californians from moving to Texas.
Was it?
And honestly,
Based-
I feel like I really do feel like
No,
Abbott is actually
proven.
not particularly against or for abortion. He just wanted to piss off people from California. I do-
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
I really
was-
feel like that's I really
There's been a big movement of "Don't turn my red state blue." Right?
I really do feel like that was kind of the goal of Abbott, was really just to piss off people from California, because honestly, like, from my stance, I personally don't really have much of an opinion on abortion because I personally lack a uterus. So I mean, I don't really have any opinion on it. But I mean, like, here's my
could go
deal.
into that, but you know,
Yeah, we'll open that can of worms later. But basically, from my perspective, with constitutional carry being made a thing, with a lot of manufacturers from the East Coast, like gun manufacturers from the East Coast, moving to Texas, and I believe that in the future, really, what's going to define whether or not we become the new California is if Abbott loses or wins the election. And personally, my stance on it is I don't believe Beto is going to get into the office, as the governor's office. I mean, I would not put it out there that they may try to cheat him in. That's a bit of a hot take, but I have a feeling that Abbott's going to pull through on this. And if Abbott does pull through on this, then no, I really don't see Texas becoming the new California.
no, yeah. But fucking, well, I was gonna say something about the whole abortion thing. So, I personally, I'm how do I say this without everybody getting mad?
Bro, do you
No,
know who the
I
fuck
mean,
you're
dude,
talking
come
to?
on. This
If
is
you
so-
stuck
yeah,
in the
dude,
conversation this long
you're
as a
fine,
viewer,
you're fine.
I think you'd be okay.
So the whole thing with the abortion shit, I'm I'm pro-life. That's it's stupid. It's actually stupid how much like of a fear builds up just to say that.
No, it's
But-
ridiculous. We should be able to have, discourse and polite conversations
It's-
without it,
it-
dissembling into, oh, are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican?
No,
Do you
it's-
like Trump?
I'm
Do you
not.
hate
I'm
Trump?
not. I'm not scared of you guys judging me. It's because I know there's obviously people listening to this and they're gonna get all on their keyboards and fucking get all angry about it.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna smash their
that's-
forehead
it-
against
it-
their keyboard, and they're
They're
gonna
gonna
get
do it
salty.
without
That's what
even
it is.
watching
No,
this, bro.
but it is ridiculous though. It is ridiculous how that kind of irrational fear can build up just in this day and age. That's really how you know that conservatives are the modern day Jews. But
That's
I
a
mean,
bit of a
am I
that's a
wrong?
bit of a hot take, buddy. Okay.
I was
Anyway.
taking it back.
The modern, I kind of feel like that's satire because
That has-
holy
It is-
shit.
it
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like a
dude.
tattoo idea.
Conservatives are the modern day Jews. That's a bit of a fuck's sake. Oh man.
But fucking yeah, so if you have all your assets in order, like if you're just a responsible human being, there should be no need for you to get an abortion. So in that case, yes, pro-life. If you were I think we can agree, if you were raped or if whatever else, yeah, that you should have the right to abort that child that you were.
Because I mean, it could be
I mean,
traumatic.
you didn't make the decision to have that child in the first place, so therefore, why should you give birth to it? That's my take. But if you willingly had sex with someone and you willingly didn't wear protection, or you willingly didn't take the pill, or
Or
willingly,
you got drunk,
whatever,
or you were high, or whatever. Yeah.
but well, I mean, even that's kind of foggy water because
That's
That can
that's
that
kind
that
of an
that can
interesting,
kind of fall into the
yeah,
rape thing as well. But if
because you weren't
if
technically
you
of a
were
sound
both
mind.
if you were both consenting to this action of making life, but you didn't take any of the steps to prevent yourselves from making life or whatever, uh, that's on you. You gotta own up. You gotta own up to yourself. You
It's
need to be a responsible individual,
Yeah, it's
right?
literally like, oh, what's that? Your hedonistic lifestyle doesn't approve the consequences that you face living that lifestyle. It's like literally, you're a fucking heathen. You're having raw, unprotected sex with people out here, and it doesn't matter if you're just doing one night stands or you got a boyfriend. If you're not ready to have a fucking kid, take the proper precautions. We don't live in the fucking 80s or the fucking
And I'm
Middle
not
Ages. Like
saying
we have the power, we have the technology. It doesn't need to be this
exactly.
way.
Oh,
The future is now, old man. But
Literally.
no, like literally, I have nothing wrong. Like I'm not trying to slut shame people. I'm not trying to do none of like bro. I'm a heathen. I like, to quote 50 Shades of Grey. I like to fuck. You know.
wait, is that an actual line of 50 Shades of
That
Grey?
is an actual line from 50 Shades of
Oh
Grey.
my
Does he deliver the
god.
line that way?
Yeah, he did. Anyway, not to dwell on that shit of a movie.
I digress.
It's
That's a real hot
I
take.
I
That
I
may
would
get us
I
taken
would
off
take
YouTube.
ownership. It's not about uh. It's like, yeah, bro, I did that shit raw. I mean, well,
Oh yeah, I'm
I
a
mean,
macho man.
sure,
Ooh.
yeah, woo.
Raw
I
sex
don't know.
terrifies the fuck out of me, bro.
Same here.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
You know
that's
what
my
really
hot.
terrifies me? Women.
Yeah, no, yeah. They're intimidating these days.
I want
Well,
to make
actually,
it.
no. I can't even say these days now. Well, like 30, 20 years ago, there was some motherfuckers sitting around like a barrel fire, sharing a cigarette, talking the same shit about chicks, dude.
A barrel
Like,
fire.
yeah,
Back
bro.
in the 60s, women were fucking terrifying. People in the 60s, man, people back in the or women back in the 1930s, god damn, they were scary.
They could
So on and
kill
so
a
forth.
chicken and pluck it themselves and have it cooked for you by the time you get home.
That
Yeah,
is
bro.
that
That's
is some like
proactive.
really
That's really
scary,
Chad,
crazy
actually.
shit.
No,
Like,
no,
actually,
yeah.
yeah.
How many
That's
boys can do
amendable.
that?
I mean, I can kill a chicken, but I mean with a 12 gauge. But I mean, like that's
That's at that point. That's just fucking shredded poultry.
yeah. I mean, that's not going to be good for chicken. I mean, like what if you're sitting there eating your fried chicken, you fucking bite onto a damn BB from a 12 gauge,
A bullet, yeah.
So that just fucking sucks, dude.
But yeah, no, fucking.
I'll make a joke.
That's a whole can of worms. Like, obviously, like women have their place. This is the 21st century. The whole women's movement happened. Women have their place. I'm not in here to step in front of that.
I
right?
get what you're saying. We
But
need to go back.
Oh my god.
Yes.
You know, let's go ahead and implement
reject
Sharia.
modernity, embrace
Yes.
tradition.
Yes, reject modernity, embrace tradition. Let's just go to Sharia law. Let's have them all cover up.
Speaking of that, I gotta segue into this. This perfectly segues into what I wanted to say. So
Alright.
Saudi Arabia recently let women drive, and before that, they
Oh,
had like
boy.
there was no accidents, there was no traffic reports. It was
Oh,
squeaky
no.
clean.
Oh
But for
god.
some reason, I don't know why, but it baffles me. But ever
The
since
traffic accidents started rising.
yeah, it's so weird.
What? That's insane.
It
I
boggles
think it'd
my
only be
mind.
worse if it was.
That
I think
you know
it, I
what?
think it would honestly
think
only be worse
that
if it was
has
in China.
that has to do with capitalism, and it's the way they manufacture cars. That's what
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that is.
It's not.
Those
It,
damn capitalists not manufacturing
Damn
their cars
capitalists
safely enough.
working on them
Fucking
cars.
capitalists.
Them damn. I bet you most of their cars are Japanese too. That's funny.
Oh my fucking god.
No, because
Or damn
well,
Tesla.
no, because their trucks are Japanese. What is it? The Toyotas, and then they put the 50 cals on the back, right? And they just drive around.
oh
in the
yeah, I
desert.
was gonna.
Okay, we're talking about technicals then. Oh good
Anyway.
lord, dude, that was that was actually really wacky. The use of technicals in Africa, that was wacky. So they actually couldn't afford, like a lot of these African nations that were at war with each other in the Cold War, basically couldn't afford tanks or like armored vehicles. So they were
Mhm.
like, okay, so we need to have a big gun that's mobile. So hear me out. We're gonna ask a couple of nation for Toyota trucks, and we're just gonna put a big ass machine gun in the back of them, and we'll just see how it works.
Then
And
send
it's
them.
funny because it actually worked out great.
Oh, it
No,
worked
yeah.
out so beautifully. Those trucks were
I
so
mean, if
light,
it
they wouldn't
listen,
trigger
if it worked in
landmines.
the First World War
Exactly.
with Jeeps, right, where they put guns on the back of Jeeps, why wouldn't that same concept work with a truck? Oh my god, that's crazy.
Exactly.
I don't know.
It's just
Listen.
crazy.
I don't mean to. I don't mean to shit on Africa, right? Because listen,
I
Elon
think enough
Musk.
people have shit on Africa in the past
Listen,
100
Elon
years.
Musk. Look, he's buying out Twitter, right? We
Belle
have
Delphine's
an
South
African.
African.
We have an African American buying out Twitter. That's crazy.
Bro, Belle
Wait,
Delphine's
wait,
African American.
what?
I mean, yeah,
Elon
Belle
Musk
Delphine.
is from South Africa.
Belle
Dude,
Delphine too,
exactly.
bro.
So does that mean Elon Musk can give out inward passes?
Oh shit!
Bro, Elon Musk is the richest African American in all of America. But anyway, um,
Technically speaking,
fuck,
he's right.
I had a friend of mine tell me this. There was apparently like National Geographic did a documentary about like this tribe somewhere in the middle of fucking Africa, where they were struggling to bring water because like they would go down to the river like downhill from their village to fill up their jugs with water from the river and then go back up the hill. So they thought, how can we make our lives easier to bring all this water back up to the village? So they designed they designed this wheel, right? That would fill up with water and they would push the wheel up the mountain. So basically 10,000, 50, like 100,000, 10,000 years after the wheel had been invented. Nah, bro. Africa got that shit again. I don't know. That's a hot take, but
I feel bad for Africa, right? Because they were actually doing pretty well for themselves. In fact, the richest man in history, he makes even Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk look poor.
Mhm.
Was a dude who was like, I think from like Central Africa. And it was like back in medieval times or some shit. And
Most likely. He was no, without a doubt, he was a slave trader because he was.
yeah,
I
but
bet
we
you
don't we
10
don't we
bucks.
just don't talk about that, right? Fuck's
Yeah, of
sake.
course not. Like, how could slaves come from Africa, right? And then
And then be sold by Africans. It's almost like
exactly,
people are motivated by money and greed or something, not just
yeah,
race.
that's weird.
Bonkers.
It's nuts, man, crazy.
That's
No,
actually
but like seriously. But then like Africa ends up just getting raped by all these European, nations in colonial times, and it just kind of sucks. Like they could have developed and a
There was a
lot
lot of
of
promise.
African nations. Exactly. There's a lot of promise. I mean, Africa is just a
bro. They
wealth
have
of
so, like yeah,
resources.
they
They
have
have so
diamonds.
much.
I'm pretty sure they have oil up in the
But
northern
now it's just
area.
oh yeah, North Africa there's a shitload of oil. But now it's just a shithole. I mean, I hate to say that, but I mean, Africa is as a whole is just a shithole, and it kind of sucks because
It's the
they
result of
had
them
a
getting molested
lot.
all the way back then.
Exactly, just drug around the damn house and fucked 5 different ways. I mean, it's just
No,
they've
yeah.
been screwed so many times. They've been unable to form functioning societies in a lot of cases.
And but I will give them this though. I commend a lot of like South Americans and or not South America, South Africans because I know for a fact that in there's South Africa, West Africa near the Congo, and then I think Nigeria as well. Those are some of the more developed areas. I really commend those guys for holding down the fort, if you will, and just kind of just trucking through the shit, doing the things, doing like as much work that they can do to then provide a better future for their country. Because I mean, hell, we need more people like that in America because there's too many people trying to tear it down.
Why not just instead of just trying to tear it down, why not advocate for trying to replenish and restore America and try to maybe just bring back because I mean, I'm not going to lie, these days America's a shell of its former self. I mean, we have
Oh
all
yeah.
these issues just tearing our country apart, and it would just get so much better if the powers that be, I'm looking at the federal government and a lot of these corporations who have bought the federal government, then maybe we as a people could unite, come together, and try to fix our nation. I mean, our
We
nation
need
is a
okay
troubled nation.
as as fucked up as this is gonna be. When in the last 30 years was America the most united it's ever been?
9/11.
9/11.
Exactly. And as fucked up as it's gonna sound, I think to to really as a step forward to unite the country, I think there needs to be another equivalency. I don't know. Like I tragically can't really see any other
I'm
way
scared
that's
because
gonna, because the left is just taking so many steps backwards, further away from the
But
center
see,
group.
it's not even just the left. I mean, it's a lot of these right wing politicians too who just don't really give a shit about the country anymore and just want to stuff their pockets full. I mean,
yeah,
it's politicians. It's not
Uh,
even left and right. It's politicians as a whole. I mean, let's just go ahead and toss out the damn Republican versus Democrat debate. This is politicians. This is greedy businessmen. It's just all of these people who just don't give a shit about the nation that are ruining it
I
That's
and
really
who
fair.
wanted
are
to get into
exploiting
politics.
I'm
good and
also
honest
talking.
people.
I really
I'm
wanted to get
also
into
talking
politics
about.
as a kid, and I learned that the only way you can make real money in politics is to be corrupt. Like,
No, yeah.
fucking, what's her name? The
To
old
take
fucking white
lobbying
lady,
lobbying
Oh,
the
cash.
look at
inside trading lady, from
yeah.
Washington. Her salary's supposed to be 200 grand a year, and she's worth over like 20 million. Like,
Yeah.
It's
she's
because she's taking
Bro,
legal bribes, aka lobbying.
yeah,
look at literally Canada. Like the amount of lobbying that goes on between Big Pharma and Justin Trudeau, and then not just that from China and Justin Trudeau,
China.
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 But to backstep, like my talk about the left and right, I'm not even talking about politicians. I'm talking about individuals as well. The people who enable the politicians, right? Like the left, I feel like has been so brainwashed by the politicians, so it's a back and forth loop that the 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 left leaning people as well have become kind of their own entity, which just progressively deprogresses, and I don't know, it's a whole mess, and I feel like I said, if we really want to see some more unity, there needs to be some kind of
Like
uh
mass tragedy. I have a counter to that though.
yeah.
I have a counter to that.
Okay,
I think
yeah, go for it.
because the way
Please give me something better to believe in.
I think it's gonna have the exact opposite effect and divide us even more because you got places now like Twitter and Facebook and all the politics and people trolling and then people who are genuinely fucking deranged in the head who like literally will call for the deaths of white babies are probably gonna be the same people who are saying that this should have happened again tenfold. And there's gonna be more divide. Like
I don't know.
a very fucking touchy
It's
subject,
it's
but
whoever it's whoever influences the Facebook wine moms to to take up their
The
cause.
moms against guns
and
type of
we all
people.
know how, but we all know where those people are and like where Facebook's like allegiance is. They're gonna favor those people over the
They'll
people who
post a
genuinely
minion
might
meme
weep.
about it, and then the moms will be like, and then yeah, that's basically how you win them in your favor.
I think it's gonna have the
My
exact
bad. My
opposite
bad if
effect.
that was loud. You should probably put a like a warning for your people's ears.
You did peak you peaked OBS for a sec.
Goddamn.
Good lord. But I mean, my stance on it is here's the deal. I really think we need to put a lot of this just political division shit behind us as a nation, and we need to look forward and attempt to we need to put our squabbles away. That's the only way I see that ever happening, and I'm not even sure if it ever will be able to happen, because it's everybody's so hung up these days on, oh, are you a Trump supporter? Are you a Biden supporter? Oh, do you like Bernie? Do you like AOC? Oh, are you Republican? Or are you Democrat? It's not what do you want to do that could help America. It's what side are you on? And if you're not on my side, you're wrong. I'm gonna scream at you in your face as to why you're wrong. It's not let's be adults and have discourse. That's why I almost do not debate politics on the internet these days, because from my stance, it's just futile. It's futile. I mean, it's
Yeah,
futile.
well, what it
It's
is too. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
It's tribalism. I feel it's like people nowadays
Oh, it's
are
absolutely tribalism.
yeah, they feel the need to be connected to something greater than them,
Yeah.
and they feel they're willing to do any and everything to get that special feeling, which is also where you might want to go back and like maybe saying all this LGBT stuff, like making up all
Well,
these
that
different like 20,000 different genders just to feel special. It's like People
That's
will do
how
anything just to feel special.
getting canceled works. It's the idea that you'll be banished from the tribe. Because like go back to Monkey when you're in your little like troop of chimps, right? The idea that you could be abandoned by everything you know, right, and just left to the devices of the wild.
It's a thing we're
That's
wired to be
terrifying.
scared of.
Exactly. So the idea that you could be canceled from a community, despite not even being a part of the community, is just terrifying for some reason.
Have you seen
Right.
that meme that talks about that, where it's like they was different back then? They used to just tell you to leave.
I did not see that, but that sounds
I'll
pretty
find it. It's
funny.
on Instagram. I'll send it to you. But that's what that
Bet.
shit reminded me of. It was like back in ancient times, if you fucked up so badly, they wouldn't even put up with your ass. They would just tell you to leave. They'd ask you to leave.
And
It-
with this whole like moms against gun shit, I honestly think like just kind of going back to that topic. I mean, okay, here's how it is from my perspective, and I'm gonna be biased on this. I mean, I'm an apprentice gunsmith. I own a shitload of guns, and I'm proud of that. But I mean, like,
Lucky.
here's the deal. I mean, you have all these people who are like, "Oh my God, mom's against guns. Let's take guns off the street, yada yada yada." And then they're encouraging organizations like the ATF, as an example, the puppy shooters. Um, Basically, you have organizations like the ATF being encouraged, and then a Ruby Ridge or a Waco happens,
I mean, I
where
wouldn't even
either
say encouraged. I would say empowered because they're being
that
given the
is encouraged or empowered. I mean, either word would be perfect. I mean, it's they're being empowered by these people and being egged on to do these atrocities. I mean, Ruby Ridge was nothing short of an atrocity, and same thing with Waco. I mean, I don't really get how people could even debate about it. Children were burned and gassed in Waco. That is a fact. It doesn't matter if it was an agent who lit the match or not. They didn't do shit to prevent it. And it's not even just that, but whatever. We can put Waco aside. Let's look at Ruby Ridge. That happened before Waco. Um, an ATF sniper literally shot, I believe it was a pregnant woman. I can't remember off the top of my head if she was pregnant or not, but he shot an innocent woman. That is inexcusable. I mean, if you do not, as a sniper, if you do not know if that shot is 100% clear or not, you don't take it. So, and it even turns out the guy who they were trying to get after didn't do anything wrong except not appear in court. And to my knowledge, in America, you don't get shot for not appearing into court. And I mean, the guy was given no less than three separate court dates at once. He was confused and refused to show. At that point, the ATF should not have been involved. They shouldn't have. But instead, they wanted to flex their dick and they wanted to mow down innocent civilians. Oh, and fun fact, they shot a dog in Ruby Ridge. They shot the guy's dog.
They
I
just
mean,
took out his alarm
Oh,
system.
yeah.
They made
So
exactly.
let me explain it for some of the people who don't know the full context behind it. So basically, you got this guy who, if you ask anybody, even the literal Nazis, now, hold on now. There's gonna be a lot of people who say, well, good, he deserves to die, he's a Nazi. But the funny part is like, he was mostly interested in just having debates with a lot of the people from there, and they just happened to live near like a large gathering of where Nazis usually go. But because like they're white, they obviously like welcomed them. They're really kind to
Do
them, the
we
family,
do
the
you
Ruby.
mean like Nazis or do you mean like
I
the
mean
KKK?
literal
Which
Nazis.
I
These are
mean
literal white
they're
supremacists.
credible, but
These were
like do
like
you mean like clan? Are we talking clan or are we talking
it
like
was it was
neo-Nazis,
it
like the
was
skinheads?
it was weird because there was like it was like a mix of people who are really religious, and they also happen to believe that the white people are the best people and the superior race.
So the
White
idea that white
supremacists.
people are God's people or some bullshit like that.
Something like that, you could say.
Okay.
But the dad like would be offered like to go to their houses and have barbecues and everything with them, and he politely declined. You know what? I just it's not my thing. I really appreciate it. He was a fucking adult about the political differences between them, and a
Yeah.
lot of, anyways. One of these guys was So at the time, the ATF and the government wanted to get inside. They wanted to penetrate that I guess you could call it a cult, even though it wasn't. It wasn't, but
A cult group,
yeah,
organization, whatever you want to call it.
they wanted to infiltrate it to get inside information on it, and they couldn't get in. And so someone posed as someone from like the church, I guess you could say, and asked Mr. Ridge and whatever the fuck his name was, and they asked them, "Hey, you want to make a couple $100? Can you do this to a gun for me?" And it was just to saw off the barrel of a shotgun, which is a federal offense to shorten the barrel of a
That is a
firearm.
felony, yes, under the NFA.
Mhm.
But he did it for a couple $100, and that's all. And ever since then, the ATF used that as an excuse, and they held that over his
Oh.
head like a fucking dangling carrot.
So they entrapped him, basically.
Yeah, it was entrapment, and they said to him, "Hey, look, if you don't become an insider for us on this church, this cult, then we're gonna prosecute you to the full extent of the law, and you're gonna go to federal prison." And he's like, "Fuck you, I'm not helping you, feds." And they served him in court, and he never showed, and so they used that as an excuse to start surveillance around his compound, not his compound, his fucking house and his property.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, because it's not Waco.
yeah, and they would hunt on their own land because they could, and they would do good part. They would live off the land essentially, and they would buy their shit from store. But eventually, the harassment from the government became so much that they decided to stay inside at all times. It was a decently sized family. There was a lot of kids, and the wife was also pregnant at the time.
There was also a family friend at the time who was living with them. I do not remember the gentleman's name off the top of my head.
Yeah, crazy fucking shit. If one side says the other side says something else. But I believe
Mm.
the Ruby Ridge side, the family side of what happened this day, the day the actual deaths and the murders
And
took
very
place.
obviously, I mean, Waco did not happen long after Ruby Ridge, and very obviously the ATF and the FBI, because the FBI was also involved with Waco, didn't learn their lesson. Instead of learning their lesson and maybe following correct procedure with, rules of engagement, they just gassed and burned children. I mean, like,
Yeah,
how? Like, how do you fuck up this bad?
it was a show of power
And
Yeah.
as for a show of power, innocent lives were lost
on our
because
own fucking people, mind you that.
in American soil. It's just, you can't make this shit up.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, wow, we did this to our own people, and this wasn't even that long ago. And who's to say what else is still going on today that we still like are skeptical towards our own government about? Like literally, the Martin Luther King Jr.'s wife took um, the government to court, and she won a lawsuit. She sued them for the death of Martin Luther King Jr., and she won that lawsuit. But I think that was in the 90s too, but nobody fucking knows about that. Nobody knows
And
that they
what
literally
does that
took
go
the
to
government
show?
to court. Exactly my point. But the scarier side is that a lot of people don't even know that that whole case exists. They're like, wait, seriously? I thought that was like fake. The government didn't kill him. Nope. They took him to court. They
And
proved it.
these are not conspiracy theories before it's pointed out in the comment section. This is fact. I mean, you can go on Google it for yourself. It's all there. It's just read it.
We have a government that ISIS its own people.
I mean, and with laws like the Patriot Act, I mean, the government, legally speaking, and again, this is no conspiracy theory, they can legally, without notifying anybody, wiretap us. That's just something they can do it legally with no, if they even have a suspicion that they think we're doing something that counts as anything
I
anti-government,
mean,
anything.
even without the conventional suspicion, whatever they can claim whatever you're doing as suspicious.
Here's what's crazy is you could actually go on the FBI's website and request the files they have from your date of birth all the way up to this exact
But
moment.
then you'd be on their watch list. That is actually true. That is something that
Bro,
can be done.
I'm on Canada's watch list, so.
I thought I was on the watch list, but then because I'm in California, I gotta go to the background check just to buy ammo every time, and so I'm surprised I'm honestly not, because I'll talk about stuff like this openly on the internet and get paranoid for a couple of weeks. Like, okay, fuck, I gotta go to the gym. They're gonna kidnap me.
I
on the
mean,
way
they
there.
already know. They already know. I mean,
Oh,
it's
definitely. They have to. But they
But
let
at
me
the
but they let me get them still. So I'm like, huh, they're probably gonna use me as a scapegoat at some day. They're gonna be like, it was this guy. The white supremacist on the internet with the podcast. It was him.
even though that nobody in here is a white supremacist
I'm
by
not
any
even
stretch
white.
of the word.
No. Like,
Literally not even white. He's a minority. But I mean, hell, it's just there's it all kind of all of these topics, all of these things we've gone over, it all loops back into one thing, and that is America as a country. Whether you're American or not, I mean, we have a Canadian here, as we've mentioned before. You can look at this objectively and say there are a lot of problems in this nation currently. And I mean, I kind of feel like maybe we can, we can have some, discourse, and we can kind of talk things out, figure things out, and maybe, between left and right, between Trump supporters, Biden supporters, between people who have differing ideas, maybe just maybe we can have some discourse, we can have some, shared ideas, and maybe we can find some sort of common ground and unity among, all these differing opinions and all these differing ideologies, and just maybe find some sort of common ground,
Wouldn't it be like you can't see, but I'm like putting my two pointer fingers together and like twirling them, kind of like I'm embarrassed and I'm kawaii desu, and I'm like, what if like
Oh my
maybe the left and
god.
the right and libertarians and authoritarians got together, and maybe we could just like as friends maybe sit down and talk about how we all agree that
Or
our
make out. Oh,
country's
I'm sorry. What?
fucked up in one way or another, and maybe we could put our heads together and try to make the best country for the rest of us,
The-
Let's
I
see. That's
I
just as
that's a
friends.
fantasy world, but
no,
Yeah.
just
I'm of
friends.
the
Yeah.
see, I'm of the belief, like I love America. Like the time that I spent there, like the formative years, whatever you want to say, last 2 years of high school, and then and one the year after where I worked, like I fell in love with America. I used to be the on the fucking lefty, like when I started when I in Canada when I started high school. Like I was fucking anarchist. I wanted all these social programs, blah blah blah. And then I moved to America, and then I started socializing with people who I quote unquote shared these ideas with. And I realized, bro, these are fucking some weirdos. Like,
They're the
I
outcast.
exactly, yeah. And not even that. Then I started like, being questioned and then asking questions, bro. That's how you take down. Like that's how you know when a fucking idea is completely flawed, or like even just like an institution. If you start asking questions and then the answers aren't adding up, or if you start being asked questions and you can't think of answers, that's that's how you know like
Definitely not a
there's
good
something.
sign.
Yeah, there's something like shifty going on. So
It's like the
then I
Socratic method.
the what method?
Socratic method. It's a method of debate where you essentially would like be asking somebody how, like, let's say I'm talking to like a socialist who believes in communism, like full-hearted, like hammer and sickle, and I
Oh,
would have
you're
them
a
break it
socialist?
down,
How about you socialize with some bitches?
right? And I have them break it down essentially, like, how would this work logistically? Like, what do we do? What can we do if this is the way? Like, how does it compare to what we actually have now? And like, let me show you. Basically, Socratic method is you make them explain it from their own sense of logic and logically explain it. And a lot of the times is when you do that, they realize just how much of in a fantasy world they're in.
No, yeah.
They realize just about how much they've been brainwashed, and I mean, you'll see that in my opinion, you see that both in the far left and the far right. I mean, you've got, and when I use the term far right, I mean white supremacists, Nazis, etc. Um, in my opinion, you'll see that there's these institutions of, thought like, oh, white people are better for this, that, and the other reason, when objectively you can look and say, well, not really. And I mean, and the same thing with the far left. Oh, communism works for this, that, and the other reason. But you can look at the Soviet Union, you can look at socialist countries like Venezuela, you can look at all these other communist countries and realize, no, it really didn't work. People just starved and died, and then people became poor, and then the country went to shit. I mean, there's just a million examples. I mean, in my opinion, far right, far left. It's going to be the death of this country if it's allowed to continue. And it's just people need to wake up and realize that maybe not everything is about them, and that maybe just maybe they can be less extreme and kind of come together and try to make something of America again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do when I fucking get my ass over there, like as soon as possible. I just want to build a family, build a life for myself, and contribute to the healing of not even the healing, just the well-being of what
You're wanting
the
to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. There's nothing wrong with
that's
that.
exactly it, yeah. And
Exactly.
you know what? Unfortunately, I feel like even how bad it like as bad as you guys think America is, I feel like America is one of the last
See,
places on the
America
planet
isn't
where
a
you can do
bad
that.
nation. We're just a troubled nation.
Or a
That's
troubled, yeah,
And
as
no
troubled
nation's
as you may,
perfect.
yeah, as troubled as you guys may think, I feel like America is one of the last places on the planet where you can do that, pursue a life of
pursue
liberty and
life, liberty, and
pursue the
happiness. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to get completely off topic and talk. And is there any correlation on how anime and modernizing degeneracy has led to the impact socially on our own youth today?
Well, as an
Yes.
avid consumer of anime, um, I don't,
Anime
I
enjoyer.
yeah, I don't know. Like, it really depends. Because I mean, in the early 2000s, like, because we have all these snapshots on fucking Reddit and whatever else of these disgusting blobs in their mom's basement, just wearing
It looks
fucking
like that
Jap,
South Park gamer dude.
wearing, yeah, wearing
With like
Japanese,
with like 5 foot tall body pillows with suspicious stains all over them.
Joshua
yeah,
Takeshi
exactly,
san.
basically.
Good fucking grief.
That that is that's an issue, okay? But for somebody like myself who like watches anime, fucking knows memes, or I don't know, maybe I have a couple keepsakes from just shows I enjoy. That's like
I
I
think
feel like
there's
that's
a
just
I
unhealthy.
mean
I
that's
feel like that's just a healthy
obviously
interest.
it's biased because like I don't see anything wrong with that. Like if
there's
I
a,
have like t-shirts
there's a
or you know
blatant difference
whatever else.
between people like you who just happen to consume the media. Like I feel like you're more on the side of not just watching it for degeneracy and watching cute girls do cute things, but you actually just watch it as like, oh, it's like an action film, but it's in the format of anime. I could get
Yeah,
along with the
basically.
plot and what's going on.
It's literally just Japanese cartoons.
It's just
And
a way to consume media. But then
yeah,
you got these
it's
fucked people, bro. Like all these fucking TikTok people, and it's just, oh my god, dude. Like
bro, and okay, this is
based.
TikTok. Yeah, this TikTok is literally just a fucking sinkhole, and this is gonna get
TikTok represents
this is
everything
going
wrong with our society.
this is going back into the politics thing. I feel like there's this obsession with the left with kids. That's I don't know,
I had my
because with the
headset off real
whole
quick. I had to plug it in. Did you say the less obsession with kids?
the left is obsessed with kids. Yeah,
Without a doubt.
because
Pedophile moment.
look at in California or not California, Florida, where they the grooming bill where they told teachers to like or to respect parents' rights, to of their children or whatever else, right? And then you had this outrage where everybody just basically misread the bill and called it the "Don't Say Gay" bill, which is nowhere
It's blown out
near
of proportion.
exactly. So there's just I feel like there's just this obsession from the left and just from like TikTok people in general. Or not maybe all TikTok people, but just from people who
It's a majority.
yeah, majority for sure. But just I don't know, it's gross. It's honestly
It's
sickening. And
gross and
it's
sickening how they try to normalize it.
it's difficult to put into words because that's not where I spend my time, you know. It's
It's
just something I've noticed that's honestly troubling.
yeah, like I've seen the clips and like people talk about them on YouTube and like do critical essays and this fucking sick people and like it's
Do you guys know what a map is? A
yeah.
map?
Yep.
A
MAP?
pedophile needs to have their head bashed in with a
Essentially.
baseball bat.
Yes. No, yeah, no, not essentially. A minor attracted person is a pedophile, and it's disgusting how people try to normalize that.
That's what I'm
If you are
scared is
able
how
to
they're trying to
and you
normalize it,
won't
bro.
act on that and talk about it and act like it's normal, then I'm sorry. You are just a sorry piece of shit. You are the lowest part. Like you are the scum of humanity. There's
Hmm.
nothing lower than a pedophile, at least in my opinion. I mean, again, this may be a hot topic. I
I don't
do
know
not
see
believe
how
that
it's
people who have if you have these urges, you need to seek mental health or mental health.
if you click on my profile, bro, what does it say in my fucking little what does it say? Click on my
I'll go ahead and
profile.
read it out. Pronouns / Bronco.
Do you see what it says though?
Ford Bronco, kill your local pedo.
Oh, kill your local pedophile. No, that's completely true. But
Yeah.
I mean, so here's the deal. Like, I mean, if you have these urges and you go and seek help, I'm not saying you deserve to be killed. The moment you you actually act on those
When you
urges
act,
is
yeah,
the moment where
exactly.
I believe you should be hung from an oak tree with a damn noose. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but I mean, you hurt a child, they live with that for the rest of their life. I know people personally who are good friends of mine who had that problem. I mean, one of the I mean, I'm gonna go out and say it. My mentor was sexually assaulted when he was a young child. You know, he's in his 50s now, and when he talks about it, at least to me, I can see it's that hollow look in his eye, and he shudders. I mean, this is a grown man who is in his mid 50s, and he is one of the bravest people I know, and it still haunts him. I mean, this is from when he was a small child and him being raped by another man, and it's just
It's
it's
sickening.
just the you ruin. I mean, it's worse than killing somebody, in my opinion. At least when you kill somebody, they don't have to live with that over their head constantly. They with the
Well,
back of their
when you
mind
kill
gnawing at
someone, they
them.
don't have to live, period, right?
But
Like
Well,
yeah,
if
like
you
when
get what I'm
people say
saying,
there's
though.
a fate worse than death, it's true.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is the
yeah.
fate worse than death. I mean, absolutely, that is the fate worse than death. Absolutely.
Or one of them. But not to demean it in any way, but there's obviously multiple fates that I would deem worse than death, but 100% that is
That's on the
one
list.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's no coming back from it because it psychologically changes who you are as a person. Simple things you used to
Hmm.
like and enjoy, it changes you. You're not the same after that.
And I mean, it'll haunt a man. I mean, it's just it'll haunt anybody if it happens to you. I mean, it's just something you
Oh,
never get over. When you're a child, is it is the most crucial parts of your life that give you a foundation for how you grow up to be and who you become when you get older. And
Yeah.
there
this
are
is
some people who they're assaulted when they're younger and become the assaulter when they get older, and that is just
Yeah, it's that
inexcusable.
saying
that is yeah.
hurt people.
Hmm.
I mean,
There
you're just
was
spreading the suffering. Once you act on those urges, you are spreading your own you're spreading your own problems, and you're hurting others, and those people who you hurt will hurt other people, and it starts
it's a
a
never-ending
vicious
spiral.
dark cycle.
Do you think we could help these people with like better mental health care? Like I'm not one of those people that's like, "Oh, your mental health like really like soft about it." But it's like if you got issues and you know it. You know when you got fucking issues. You
I
should
mean,
get
if you
some
can
fucking
recognize those issues, I mean, that's what I was saying. If you have those urges but you refuse to act on them, I mean, I can respect that. But the moment you act on
I meant
them,
in general, like just mental health in the United States.
yes. I mean, and I'm talking about in general too. I mean, as an example, like somebody with depression.
I feel
I was
like
diagnosed with severe depression. There are some days where I don't want to wake up. Like I just do not want to get out of bed and do anything, but I
Mhm.
still force myself to do it. It's a matter of mental fortitude and wanting to help yourself so you don't harm others in the long run, you know?
Yeah. What were you gonna say,
100%.
Jesus?
So you said about the mental health of America as a whole. Do you think, by any chance, social media or just modernity has anything to do with the decline of mental health?
I do think it
Just
has a large
perhaps.
part. If not, it's almost solely guilty for that.
As do I.
Exactly. Yeah. So I feel like if and this there've been like mental health gurus literally say preaching this shit, like just spewing it out of their mouth for like years now. If people got off their fucking, and I'm guilty of this. Like I don't do this. I don't live by this. But I know that if I really wanted to improve myself more, and if other people want to improve themselves, that they should do this. Get off your phone, guy. Go for a walk. Work out. If you're
In short,
sitting
touch grass.
exactly, touch grass. Like it, it- it's it's literally like drugs. Like they say, like or just or drinking alcohol, right? A glass of wine a day is proven to be good for your heart, but it's not good to be drunk
It's why the French live so
24/7 all
long.
the time, right?
Do they?
So,
Yes,
sorry, what?
statistically speaking, yes, the French live completely off topic, but they do actually live quite a bit longer because they have held
Oh,
less health issues or heart issues because of the fact that in French culture, you
they
drink
drink
wine at a
wine
young
from a
age.
young
Don't
age.
they also
Yeah.
Yes,
like smoke though? Like a lot?
I
Or is that
say
stereotype?
I would
So
say any more than any other modern country.
that's
Okay.
I feel like that's smoking is well, as somebody who speaks French and knows some French people. Smoking is pretty common in France, but there's been, like most of the West, there's been a lot of campaigns to demonize smoking,
Mm.
which so it's gone down. But if you go to places like Italy, where like they don't give a fuck, there's a lot of smokers in Italy, and I know that for a fact as well because I have family members who are Italian, Portuguese, that whole the Latin sphere of Europe.
Yeah.
That's yeah, a lot of smokers.
It's 11:11, guys. Make a wish.
It's 2:11 for me, amigo. I don't know what you're talking about.
111 for me, man.
Couldn't be me.
Hey.
What
Damn,
you're
I miss the
saying-
days when you and me had the same time zone. God damn.
Oh yeah, dude, that was fucking
That-
insane.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. Bro, if I wanted to, I could have drove down to your place for like a weekend.
Bro, while we were chilling in the e-girl servers, those were fun days.
Yeah.
Dude, just
to
you
go
know,
back
one of my
to
favorite things, unironically, to do is like go to like ASMR's Discord and just make fun of people who simp for the ASMR. It's just one of my favorite things to do. Yes, it's a waste of time. I could be doing a lot better things, but it's fun.
It's interesting to watch it happen in real time because you sit there judging, but you just keep your mouth shut and you just watch the train wreck happen.
exactly.
And
No,
this
yeah.
is coming from somebody who's friends with a lot of VAs, and like I
It's
talked to
literally
him
how I
about
met
it.
you.
Yes,
VAs is voice actors for people listening.
yes. For people who are not aware, it's. I mean, the thing is, like, I'm friends with a lot of these people. Like I was talking to Forbidden Words ASMR. She's a very talented voice actress and a very good friend of mine. Um, Basically, she was telling me about how, like, in some ways she enjoys the attention, and in others she hates it. So she hates how like people just fall over themselves when
Yeah.
they're in a VC with her.
She's interesting because
But-
she's like doing psychology, so she's really aware of all the social issues
Exactly.
going on.
Yeah.
And to mind you that, she's also fairly conservative, she said herself. So it's interesting because like you might have it's more common find
Ooh.
when you talk to like
We might have
VAs.
just fucked up her whole career just there.
Oh, nonsense. She's pretty vocal about her views, and people still love
All
her.
right, that's fair.
Yeah, and oh my, I fucking hit it. I hit a wall. My train of thought. Okay, I remember. Yeah, it seems interesting because it seems like the common like ideology would be like really just open for vanity for the average like girl on the internet who gets a lot of attention by males, a large male audience. And so it's like almost refreshing to talk to someone who's like, yeah, these people are fucking creeps, and I'm aware. I'm just mooching off them. It's like props.
Well, it's
Based.
not even just that. It's like I'm friends with another VA going, on the opposite side of things. He's a male voice actor. Don Lee VA is also a good friend of mine. He is in the
Shout
same
out to the
situation. However,
Don.
he gets shout out to the Don himself. But basically, he gets a lot of attention from the female side of things, and to be honest, like he has a girlfriend, and he kind of like really it gets on his nerves and her nerves when people like openly simp for him. Saying that, I would say that equally he enjoys some of the attention, just as Forbidden Words enjoys some of the attention on her part. But saying that, I mean, it feels good to be wanted. That's like a human thing.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
great. But then it gets excessive.
When it gets obsessive.
It's like a self-respect level. It's
Yes.
almost just like, okay, look, you don't know
Yeah.
who the fuck I am. You got to
Like,
realize I'm a
admiring
voice on the
somebody is
internet,
okay.
and I play
Yeah.
a character. Like, chill. You're like
I
admiring
could,
like
I could be 300 pounds with like a mole on my forehead, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like
it's like
you can admire somebody, but just don't cross that line where you're just your life is
Parasocial.
all about them. Exactly. Just don't
No,
don't be parasocial.
it's like the same thing as like, let's say there's a girl who's obsessed with like Jack Sparrow, and she likes Jack Sparrow for Jack Sparrow and the character, but she, like, and so she's obsessed with Johnny Depp, but Johnny
Yo.
Depp isn't Jack Sparrow.
Any reason you're bringing that up specifically?
It actually goes into my next segue: toxic
Okay.
femininity.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, let's go. Yo, Will Smith smacked the shit out of Chris Rock.
Literally, like,
God.
because
a-
of a bitch.
that's a broken fucking man.
Yeah.
Bro, I remember in English class we were watching the movie The Salem Witch Trials. If you guys know anything about that movie,
I haven't seen the
it's a
movie, but I
dude-
know what what
a
happened.
dude had an affair with a girl. The single girl got butthurt that she was the side hoe and literally played witch and then got half the village murdered.
Oh, you
Oh,
mean the good old days when you could just call your side hoe who wanted to ruin your marriage a witch, and that would be the end of it. The good old days, right?
Then, I mean, that movie did not have a good ending. That dude, like the guy who had the affair, he at the end of the movie he was getting sent off to the gallows, bro.
Oh, damn.
After his wife had already died.
That's what's
So-
interesting about the gallows is that you don't inherently die the first time that thing comes down.
No, when
You may die 20
okay,
or 30 minutes later from suffocation.
Exactly. So actually, here's some science about hanging people. That's kind of fucked up. When they tie the knot and they put it around your neck, you ever notice how the knots are like slung to one side, generally behind the left ear? They do that because when you drop, when the tension around your neck gets taut, it swings your neck around to the left side and basically breaks your neck. Or that's what.
How to get
it's
demonetized on
that's
YouTube
what it's-
101.
that's what it's intended.
I bet
to.
you out of
Actually,
everything we've said tonight, what's gonna get us in trouble is us saying that we should kill pedos. Or pedos aren't people.
basically.
I mean, you know what? If we're gonna get demonetized for something, then I think definitely that's
I'll
the
be
best thing
proud.
to get demonetized for.
I would be proud.
I will be 100% proud too. That is
We'll
you know,
start
that's most-
Patreon.
hell yeah, dude. Just start a damn Patreon.
we'll start a Patreon and then have a podcast.
We'll have
on the
blackjack and
Patreon.
hookers at ours.
Yes, exactly. You know what?
I'll have
We'll
my
use
own
the money from
form with
Patreon
blackjack
to
and hookers.
exactly. No, hear me out. Right? Explain on that idea. All right, we just use the money from Patreon to build our own studio, fly out to it. Money, coke, hookers, and fucking anime, dude.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
We
bro.
get coked the fucked up, drunk.
How about we get the Wolf of Wall Street in there too?
Oh yeah.
Dude, fuck it, yeah, man. And we can hire we can hire Snoop Dogg to like fucking roll us blunts or something, dude. Fuck it.
Imagine. Ballin'.
Let's get an Arabian prince in there too. just
Dude,
to
fuck it.
put a
We
stab
get an
in
Oh,
Arabian
yeah.
Prince. We'll get Elon Musk. Fucking
Dude,
fuck Jeff Bezos though. He sucks dick.
I want
but
Joe
then,
Rogan
like,
to be our coach.
Yeah, we'll get fucking Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he can
He'll
teach
be in
us how
the
to
gym
fight.
just working out. He'll do that.
He'll be our our podcast coach, and he'll also be like our fighter coach.
Hell yeah. Who else we gotta get in this studio?
Fuck
Who
it,
else?
dude. We'll just
Ooh, hey, yo, Pierre, you wanna come out here?
fuck's sake.
PA, who the
I
fuck
love
is that?
that ad lib so much. Pierre, you wanna come out here? Oh,
I don't know this.
you don't know the ad lib? Like I don't even know how to explain it. It's an ad lib from like just any old school rap song, and it was just Pierre, do you want to come out here?
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Okay.
I forget what that. Hold on, let me look up where that's from. That's I think that's from the Prince of Bel-Air. I'm not gonna lie,
Dude, Prince of Bel-Air was actually a damn good show.
bro. I don't know. That's definitely. I don't think that's gonna be the height, but that's when Will Smith was. That's when he was the guy. You know, remember when Will Smith used to be like the cool actor?
Will
like,
Smith
he
was like
the
cool.
guy.
He was.
Dude,
Exactly.
the only reason I know Will Smith is because I watched all the Men in Black.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Oh
you know,
no, it's the Jamie Foxx show. It's not from Prince of Bel-Air.
For
I mean, you know,
I'll be real
Let
with
me
you.
like-
hear this.
I never really saw Fresh Prince of Bel Air. I didn't really have like cable growing up, and I only know Will Smith from here and there and whatnot. I only know
Oh, yeah.
Chris Rock because he did like a really funny comedy special, and then he's in a couple of things.
He's
and
also
he's
the
the
zebra
zebra.
from Madagascar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the fish from Shark Tale smacked the shit out of the zebra. from Madagascar.
Yeah. What's your guys' fucking take on the whole Oscars scenario?
dude, Oh man, that's
Bitches be crazy. Like,
yeah.
What?
People are
literal,
just
yeah.
fucking crazy.
That man's emasculated. That
No,
poor
no,
man.
that goes back to what you said, the toxic femininity.
Yeah.
It's, I'm not educated enough to talk about it, but I definitely know it's a thing, and it's it's basically an overcorrection for the quote unquote toxic masculinity.
That's
So
what they
it's
say. They do some bullshit like gender neutral
yeah.
toxic masculinity. I literally
So
watched an Abra
it
and Peach video on
started
it.
it yeah, okay, thank God. Yeah, Abba and Preach, love these guys. Mwah. And I'm so glad that you watched them after I showed you a couple of
Oh, dude, I
their
love them.
videos. Bro, fucking Preach mon gars là, toi t'es assez drôle, puis j'espère que tu regardes ça là. Okay, my French is done for the whole podcast. No, no,
Thank God.
no more of that. But yeah, it's honestly, fuck. I was gonna say something before we started talking about Abba and Preach, but
Toxic
no, just
femininity.
yeah, yeah. So the whole thing with it started with the early 2000s, the third wave feminist movement, that whole shit show. And then in 2016, when all this other woke shit came on, the third wave feminists kind of jumped on that bandwagon, and it was originally it was about getting rid of this idea of toxic masculinity, whatever that is, and fucking you know that whole spiel. And then it's just progressed to now instead of getting rid of toxic masculinity, let's just be toxic ourselves,
Ironically
because
speaking, yeah. And
You know
there's like a
what?
double
Other
standard.
people
and
are assholes. Let me
I'll
just be a bigger dick.
exactly.
I think
Let's
a lot
and
of it is these
to be fair,
2016. I'm sorry.
no, to be fair, this idea that toxic masculinity is
The root
needs to
of
be
all evil.
cured, the root of all evil, or needs to be cured by making men more feminine. That's not how you cure this quote unquote toxic masculinity. You don't cure it by making men feminine. Okay, the same traits in men that that create wars also defeat tyrannies. The same traits in men that are
And by
greedy
traits, you mean
and
things like
conniving.
passion, determination,
Exactly.
strength,
Yeah.
stubbornness, that
Who's
kind of
gonna
stuff.
defend you if someone
The
breaks in your
same
house?
trait. Sorry, the same traits that breed greed and all this just conniving of these back deals or whatever else are the same traits that breed not perfect but great economies, right? So I'm very reserved with the term perfect, but the same
The term
traits.
perfect it really just depends on person to person. There is no such
Exactly.
thing, objectively speaking, as perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, the same traits that inflict wrongdoings upon the world are those same traits that end them. So there's you can't say that masculinity is toxic. You can say that there are toxic individuals. Like I honestly I'm at a loss. And I feel like in the West, women just take men for granted because they have all their whims, all their needs tended to, right? By men, like we talked about earlier, the truckers, the pilots, the farmers, the miners, right? And it's I don't know, it's really tragic. And like I
Yeah,
said,
that
sorry, you go. I'm done.
I had a brain fart. But no, you're exactly right in the sense that like females don't realize just how much goes on behind the scenes. We could always bring that statistic up about how like most workplace like deaths or accidents or suicides, let alone not even just at work, but suicides
Are
in general
men.
are mostly composed of men,
Hmm.
predominantly dominantly men. And there's a reason
Yeah,
for that.
there's there's this idea that the idea of the patriarchy. Sure, you're gonna take a small fracture of hyper successful men and then say that they're the root of everything, right? Like, what about how the fact that men are the leading gender in suicides, or that men are the leading gender in homelessness, right?
Yeah,
What about
or
those?
yeah, like you want to talk about all that stuff. What about like how if there's like a war or if someone breaks in the house, it's the guy that has to go downstairs and club the dude to death or shoot them, you know, like they have to put themselves at
To
risk. But
defend his
then,
home.
yeah,
Yeah.
but if they're down, what are you gonna do? You 130-pound female, 5'4". Like, what are you going to do against a grown ass man who just took down your
And we're
husband
not
or your
we're
boyfriend?
not we're not trying to demean women in any way. Listen,
It's the
if you
reality.
want
That's
to
all it
if you
is.
want to yeah, exactly. If you want to be the girl boss or do what any of that shit, sure, go ahead, but just know that there's a lot of men that they're gonna find that a little bit annoying, just to to put it as harshly as possible. They're gonna want to be the provider, and if you are the I don't need no man, I don't need no whatever. Well, sorry, nobody's gonna be interested in you. Right?
Women,
That's just
I've been watching a lot of the. I watched like 10 hours straight of this one dude. I binged his ass. He's on TikTok. He's like this really successful black guy who you know what I'm
TikTok,
talking
eh?
about. He's like this dude who interviews other black women, and a common thing I notice is like you have like these women who are like in their mid 30s, late 20s, or maybe even early 40s. They have a few kids and they want a high
Hmm.
value man, quote unquote, who makes 6 figures, is 6 foot tall, the stereotypical shit we hear about, and they come from a
Let me
genuine
guess.
place.
They're
It's
like
like
5'2".
they're
They're
like
like
5'2", 200 pounds. They have like three
yeah.
kids, and they're working a mediocre job at like Sears or Rite Aid. Like they're a manager at
Hmm.
like a Rite Aid, and it's like, what do you have to bring to the table? And they always say, "Oh, I got me, myself, my kids, my personality. I'm really nice. I'm sweet, um, and stuff like that." It's like, but
But actual real substance, not just touchy feely bullshit.
and then he
Yeah.
goes to say to them, "Okay, well, what do you offer that this guy just can't get from a younger girl who's like 22 years old, who has no kids, who's fresh, and she's still a lot prettier than you?" And they don't have a good answer. And I feel like that's a common trait with like a lot of the way like I'm noticing trends in like women, like, and dating in general too. Like
There's
a lot of
there's a proven statistic that modern women, due to the third wave feminism and just this whole girl boss thing, there's a proven trait that women today are just more depressed because of
yeah,
that.
not only that too, but men too, because men don't have, like, what's the word? They don't have any drive because there's no motivation because they're not told
Because
to do
they
traditionally
don't have a
masculine
wife,
things.
Without
right?
any drive and motivation, you
A
can't
man
find
is
something to be
nothing.
passionate
When
about.
Without a goal, a man is nothing.
listen, when men have something to fight for, like i.e. a wife, children, the household,
That breeds
they're
strength.
unstoppable. Yeah, that breeds strength. They're unstoppable. That will eradicate any amount of this quote unquote toxic masculinity that you people so love to fight against, right?
He will solely
So
live to provide for his
this
family.
this I'm gonna get political again. This
Oh
whole this
no.
whole this whole leftist shit. The whole power behind them is to they're just dismantling the American family and then just reaping the rewards off the weak. They're just manipulating the weak. They're like what I said about the Canadian government or any tyrannical government. You disarm the populace so you can control them and manipulate them. If you have a populace that doesn't know which bathroom they want to use, they're pretty manipulative or manipulable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if we're
So
gonna put it in simple terms, they're sheep.
Sheep.
yeah,
Wake up,
they're sheep.
sheeple. Alex Jones was
Wake
right.
up, sheeple.
Ah, wake up, you damn sheeple! But no, like on a, like
Pe-
like
People need to listen. This is part of why I want to go to fucking. I want nothing more than to go to the states and get a nice fucking plot of land in Wyoming and just do my own shit.
just
Nobody wants to be
return back to
return to
tradition.
tradition, right? Nobody, yeah, but nobody wants to be responsible, right? We said this again about the whole pregnancy thing, right? That the the whole third wave feminism and the whole modern leftist whole agenda is about just absolving people of their responsibilities, absolving people of anything really. Like this
There's no
idea that
personal
you can,
responsibility.
yeah, this idea that you can be girl boss and then go hook up with like 30 dudes and then get like 3
And that's not to
abortions in
say, you
2
know,
They wake
months.
up. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you guys, but it's like
yeah,
these
no worries, you
women will
go.
wake up one day and realize, oh my god, I wasted the time when I looked the most beautiful and I was the most fittest, and I wasted all that time hoeing myself around. And I'm just getting to the age where I realize
Now
no
I'm
dudes,
42 with a kid that I from a guy that I
I
didn't
don't
really
know,
like.
and now I need to find a man and fast to settle down, and
You
that's
know,
so
that's
common.
and that's not to say, you know, and that's
There's
not
a
to
literal
say that
Wojak about it.
Also, we're also for people that we're young guys. Like we don't like unfortunately because we're part of this younger generation, but we don't we don't have all of our we don't have our shit together really. But I personally I feel like as at least as long as I at least can notice this and as long as I'm aware of it, I feel like I can make corrections. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
Like
make the correct choice, yeah. But like,
yeah,
so
conceptually
I'm
aware of the
waiting.
problem.
Yeah,
well, so
I'm
like
waiting to
here's
just.
Let's hear it, Red.
No, sorry, you go. You go.
yeah, but like here's kind of my view on the subject, right? And that, you know, going on about this, you know, and it's not to say, like, as an example, if you're a woman and you know you kind of like early on, if you want to go around, you want to have some fun, college, you know, go around, you know, have a few different partners here and there, have sex with who you want to. That's all. It's fine. You know, it's not to say you can't do that. We live in a modern society. We live in, you know, a modern society with much less expectations. We're not saying like, oh, if you don't, you know, wait till marriage to have sex. I mean, I trust me. I mean,
Yeah,
most people just don't do that these days. But there's a difference between okay, maybe dating somebody, having sex with them, kind of figuring and maybe they're not, you know, compatible with you personality wise or whatever, and then you go off and you decide to date somebody else, have sex with them, rinse, repeat. There's a difference between that and just going around and hoeing yourself out. And I mean,
Hmm.
it's the same thing with men. I mean, you know, men are guilty of it too. You see these guys who will just go around and just bang whatever, you know, whatever doesn't have a dick between their legs. I mean, it's just it's not acceptable either, honestly.
it's ironically the same problem that those men have is they end up having to settle for somebody that they,
They just don't want.
yeah, they have to settle. They have to be like, okay, I'm not as handsome, I'm not as fit as I once was. I need to find a girl and fast. I don't really care who. She just bare minimum needs this, and they find someone who's willing to be with them for that.
Creates unhappy marriages.
It's
Exactly.
that
And it's not
it's that
inherently a female
or
problem. It's, I think, more of societal in general.
men just forego getting getting married in general. Because to be fair,
Like
like
MGTOW?
and yeah, exactly. Men going their own way, like that's blowing up big. Like, because men don't really, like as tragic as it may be, men don't really need women. Like, as much as they can fuel a man's ambition, they don't really need them to be
You
successful.
can find
We
something else
see
to be
this a lot.
passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can
It's
find something else to be passionate about, and it's tragic, and it's sad that it doesn't go both ways in this instance. But women, for the most part, for a lot of their happiness comes from having a man that they
or a
can,
relationship in general.
or yeah, a relationship in general. I don't have to say a man,
And to
but
clarify on that, we're not saying that a woman to be happy has to be with a man. That's not what
Yeah.
we're saying.
yeah,
We are
Women
saying, however, a lot
value
of happiness can come from being in a
comes
relationship.
from yeah, it
women
comes
tend to
from a
judge
relationship.
themselves and other women based on like how big their wedding was, how did their dress look. It's like you realize you're doing that for your own ego. Like who are you doing this for? It has to do with ego, and a lot of women
It is
especially,
for attention.
yeah, they're, I think a lot of the toxic femininity has to do with their own ego and they're not being aware. Like a lot of the times if you ask like I watched a lot of fucking like these YouTube Reddit videos. I binge another 10 hours at work on them, and they're I noticed a common trait. A lot of females who cheat on like their husband or their boyfriend of like a long time always had the same thing. I cheated on this guy for like 3 years, and then he found out finally, and then that's essentially when they were always like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize what I did to you. I was just so caught up in the moment. I was excited about the chance of being caught." It's like you're a fucking cunt. You didn't feel any remorse until you got caught, and it's not remorse. You're just using tears as a manipulation tactic. Because another thing is like at a very young age, girls, like kids in general, will cry, but it's mostly like girls can get away with it more than boys could growing up. and it might be different
yeah.
now, but like they
As
would use that as
men,
a
we're
way.
told we're not allowed to cry. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just what society tells us.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like it a little bit. In moments, it can be really like powerful because it shows like emotional strength. But at some time, you got to realize there's a difference between being strong in the moment and then just like kind of letting loose, like
Hmm.
when it's appropriate.
Crying at a family member's funeral, as an
Yeah,
example.
it's more like being
Yeah,
in
yeah.
control of your own emotions. Like, don't. I'm not talking about don't be
If
emotional
you
available.
to
You know.
to go to the to kind of step into that anime sphere, crying for I mean this for me anyway, because this was literally me like 3 hours ago, crying at like an anime, i.e. a Violet Evergarden, which is very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's different than like crying because
Well, I mean, you're
Somebody
emotionally invested in
crying
what's
that's
going
different
on.
than somebody
exactly, yeah.
screamed at you
But
on
that's
Twitter.
exactly, yeah, that's different than crying because somebody said something mean about you on Twitter, or that's different from crying because, like, crying over things that a child would cry about. You know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
want people to have
Yeah,
more resilience and just act like fucking adults and act their age.
yeah.
It's maturity. I mean, it's emotional maturity is what we're trying to kind of get at here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like too many times, like I see these fucking viral videos of like women who like they get caught and then they start crying and doing everything under the sun to. It's a literal fucking manipulation tactic to
To
try to get
kind
the
of
dude to stay.
to kind of play the victim, right?
Yeah, they play the victim.
Once you cross that line, I mean, you cross that line. There's nothing to be
It's a
done.
cardinal sin.
No, yeah.
Infidelity in my book is a cardinal sin. Like even if you cheated in a previous relationship, I will not even give you the time of day. Like
That's hey,
you're not
same
even in
here, man.
consideration.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's such a big no-no for me.
It is the ultimate, and I mean, like I said, there are, and I tend to be trying, be open minded about kind of stuff like this. But for me, it's I couldn't even entertain the thought. I mean, like as an example, if I found out the person I was dating was a stripper in the past or something, or had an OnlyFans or whatever. I mean, to be completely honest, even me being as open minded as I am about this kind of stuff, I really would not be too terribly happy at the idea of dating somebody who's done stuff like that.
I think it's a case by case for me.
Because
Because it's kind of the forbidden fruit,
I
right?
understand what you're saying too. Yeah.
It's something like if oh, so if she's just gone out and done all this stuff and showed herself off for all
It's
these
the
other
modern
men,
equivalent of a girl saying "fuck it, I'll just become a stripper."
basically.
I mean, and it
No,
really
but
just
it's
depends. Like if somebody had like an OnlyFans to like pay off their, their dad's cancer bills or some shit, like cancer treatment bills. I mean, like that's okay. I
possible.
can look past that.
A
That's whatever.
little. I'm
But
more.
what I'm talking about is like the idea that the human body used to be sacred, you know? The human body used to
Women
like
had more
quite
value.
literally
Women had more
eh,
value.
yeah, it quite literally used to be like a
You used
temple,
to
right?
work. You
But
have to work to try to like get a woman's attention. You had to prove yourself. But
yeah,
Now
now
it's
yeah,
you don't
but
need to
just
put in
now
any work.
it's
You can just
cheap.
see a naked woman online for
now
free, no effort.
that, or you could, if you're successful financially, just unfortunately just go rent someone out. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's lost.
Third wave
It's
feminism
it's
unironically
lost
lowered
all of
women's
its
value, I
movement.
feel.
Which is
Not
so it's so
okay.
sad. It
This is
wasn't
gonna get
progressive. It
That's a
was
hot
this is
regressive.
take.
this is really gonna make people angry. It's not just third wave feminism that made women less valuable. It's the whole trans movement. If anybody knows about that whole swimmer fucking I don't even know the person's name because
Oh yeah, did you see the
I
times, dude?
That
yeah,
is, it's
I stopped
definitely a
giving a
hot
Let me
shit.
take.
explain it. Let me explain it real quick for
Listen,
the viewers listening.
there was I saw this actually Preach said this in Abu and Preach. He saw a T-shirt that said the future is feminine. Sorry, like if women's sports keeps going the way that it's going, there's not going to be any biological women in sports.
There's not going to
In
be
like
any femininity because it's going to just boil down to men who
it's
are too
boiling
weak
down
to
Women
compete.
to the
Yes,
weak toxic men, right? We
women
talked
aren't
about
going to
toxic
compete against men.
masculinity. We talked about toxic masculinity.
Hmm.
If you feel the need, if you were 300, if you were in like the top 300 of males swimming, and then you just decide to take a couple hormones for like 2 months and then go be the
Actually,
top like the top 10 or top 3 in women's
And
swimming.
that's so sad
Hold up.
because it cheapens
That's
these women
toxic.
who are strong, who are showing off at you know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
So
it
I want to get
cheapens
into
it.
this. I know about it from a biological standard because I'm really big into the bodybuilding, all the chemicals and all the hormones that are involved. And so, the argument that people on the trans side will use is that, oh well, they've been on hormones for a couple of years, testosterone blockers and whatnot. And testosterone blockers, after I think a year of use, only decrease a male's muscle mass by 5%, which is essentially
Hmm.
virtually nothing. And the later you wait to transition, especially if you've gone through puberty, you've already developed male muscles, male reflexes, male reactions,
Hmm.
and
And a male way of thinking
yeah, and
and
You
male
have
bone
a male
density.
body,
You
essentially.
essentially do.
You are a
And
male.
here's another thing too: is like they'll also be put on a lot of estrogen. Well, estrogen actually preserves bone density, and a guy's, mind you, these are dudes who are waiting later in life to transition, so they have really sturdy man bones. They're like baseball
Hmm.
bats. Your shin is like a baseball bat, and they preserve that bone density that would naturally like be degraded, but no, it's being preserved. They're not losing it with the testosterone blockers. They're preserving their bone density, and they're not really losing virtually any muscle mass. You
No,
have a
yeah.
biologically guy who's competing against biological women
who can
that
just completely like
they
and
dominate.
biologically, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
It's not
biologically they
fair
can
Now,
to
dominate.
women.
now
We're
then,
unironically screwing women.
now then you'll have people be like, "Oh, well then why don't we just let people transition sooner? Why don't we just let kids transition?"
That's
Well,
I
Well,
hate
there's
that.
the
that gets
Hate
problem
it.
that
right
gets into
there.
that gets into child abuse
It is.
territory. If a ch- we if we ca- if we don't let a child drive, if we don't let a child drink, if we don't let a child get a tattoo, we don't let a child run its own finances because they're not mature enough. They don't have the mental development to make those choices. So, why then? Why in the world would you let a child decide its gender for the rest of its life?
For Christ's sakes,
Why?
they can't even fucking vote at that age. Like
Exactly.
it's not fair. Like I think you should be past 21 cuz 21 is when you're fully developed as a guy cuz guys they mentally develop later than females do. And so I just think it's
Even for women. Okay, so to to harp on that as well, with the whole like political, the whole leftist thing. That I feel like that's a ploy as well. This new transgender movement, because in the 70s, a large the large majority of transgenders were boys who
who
were
turned out to
boys
be gay men.
who no, not even that. Were, well, yes, gay men, but who went to transition to become female. But this was at the age of like around 7, right?
God.
Was when they started showing um
Signs.
what's the dysmorphia signs. Yes, at the age of 7. This is in the 70s, by the way. Nowadays, we see a huge number of these transgender individuals are women in high school. Now, I don't know about you, but I know for a fact that women, when they go through puberty, i.e., in high school, are very self conscious about their bodies.
Mhm.
So if there's people on the internet, maybe, I don't know, TikTok, telling you that the way that you need to feel, what you need to do to feel good about your body is just take testosterone, cut your tits off, and become a man. Maybe if you're desperate enough, maybe you'll fall for that, you know?
That's another thing too is like people are being indoctrinated into this like ideological radical fucking point of view, and it's scary because
Hmm.
I've heard before. I got to find out where. But basically there was like little kids who were they're grown up now, but they would talk about being in that inner circle around mostly predominantly adults who are elderly, who are like gay and trans, and they really heavily promote these little kids to transition, and they promote them and help pay for their transitioning. And then when the kids start having second thoughts, they kind of want to just shut them away or even dog on them even more and try to
Yep.
just keep them in there. And what it is too is if you look at a lot of these like people who are like around our age maybe who are into that kind of political sphere, I'm by no means, nor was I ever like popular and anything but a social outcast. But if you look at the people who are into that ideology, they're like losers essentially. They're people who want connection, who want to be part of a group, to want to be part of something bigger, to be a part of a
That's
tribe. And these
Yeah,
people
no.
are what they are, but you're either all against them or you're not with them at all. You're all with them or
when,
against them.
like I said, my first 2 years of high school when I was in Canada, before I went to the States early on, like later on into middle school age, like you said, like I was the fucking outcast, the loser, and I fell into that whole the left LGBT group. Like I had a bunch of friends who were of all these different genders or whatever the fuck, and I thought that it was, whatever. And it's just the fate of being an outcast and wanting a connection. I can attest to that 100%. And
Yeah,
then
I can empathize with that too.
it's yeah, it's literally as soon as you learn that you don't need people, and then that you yourself as you are, not to fall into any of that
Well, you can just
LGBT
accept the fact you're an outlaw.
brainwashing.
I mean, it's just
You could just accept
Not,
that
not,
you might
not
not
even
fit in.
outlaw. I don't mean breaking the law. I just
no.
mean
I
like
just mean in
somebody
the
who
sense of
doesn't
going
really fit
against the
in.
grid.
Like you might not fit in,
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with that. You could just be your own self and be happy. You don't have to follow what other people tell you to do.
exactly. Yeah.
Don't be a part of the
Like,
mass group because then you are the mass group.
yes. No. Yeah.
When I use the term outlaw, I mean like somebody who goes against the grid, who goes against what is considered society, like again, what society
Societal
considers to be normal,
norms.
that kind of stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's kind of like everybody who's a part of this podcast is generally speaking going to be somebody who has an outsider perspective on things. Somebody who doesn't necessarily always fit
The
in with
red pill,
yes.
the based, whatever.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, the red pilled. But no, like unironically, the people who have the outside look on things. It's going to be the outlaw, so to speak.
It's more of a
No.
critical look. It's like common sense and logic is more in place, whereas emotions are placed second.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of what the show's about. Is it's
Give it
about
to me
the
straight.
yes, give it to me straight. Give me the outsider's look.
Give it to me straight. Don't give it to me gay.
Oh fucking god.
That's
That's
okay.
that's the
I'm,
line that'll
I'm
get us.
canceled for that one.
That's the
Yeah,
line
that's
that'll get
that's
us.
That
Twitter
exactly.
to clarify. None of us are homophobic.
The glitter. Yeah.
Thank you.
I listen. My a couple of my I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
One of my friends is a gay Arab Muslim
Yes.
who is
What
also
do you sound
black.
like Obama?
Yes. Let's go. Bro,
My fellow
I
Americans.
love
I
I
want
love
to be
when
clear.
people do
Among us.
Among Us. I love when people do Joker lines in the Obama voice.
I think about that Obama video a lot, like at least once a day throughout my day-to-day life. It'll happen at random, like a schizophrenia attack. But it's like that video with Obama and a big ass cookie trying to put it in a glass of milk and it doesn't fit and it's too big and he just like gets frustrated and he
Let me be
goes,
clear.
"Thanks,
My
Obama."
fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
He was in on the
Uh,
joke,
Let me be
bro.
clear.
my fellow Americans.
I think Nixon's another fucking funny president because of Futurama.
Yes.
No.
Someone's breaking in. That's what it is for me, I think, especially.
Okay,
Okay.
and I have a question. Who is the most base president we're taking? And don't say Trump. That's
Okay. JFK.
I mean, yeah,
He was a playboy.
I kind of agree. Kennedy was great until somebody shot him in the head.
And then
with a
if you
Carcano.
take him away,
And
then
then his wife picked up his brain pieces because she was in shock and didn't realize what happened.
and if you take JFK away, then I think the next one's probably gonna be
Did-
Nixon
did you
because
know
he
about
was
that?
like actually racist.
I actually didn't.
Yeah,
When
I've seen the
JFK
Family
was
Guy bit.
shot so JFK was shot right next to his wife, and her in her brain, because she was traditional woman, kind of instinctively
wife.
went down to pick up the pieces as if like let's just say like you dropped the glass.
Oops,
and
I
gl- and
dropped
gl-
the milk on the
Oh,
ground.
I dropped the
accepting-
Yeah, yeah.
laundry.
Oopsie.
Fuck.
Yeah.
hell.
So she instinctively went down to pick up his pieces of brain and like his skull, and just it took her a minute
There
to look down at
wasn't-
her hands and realize that her fucking husband was shot in the brain. And
when
she
there
fucking
wasn't,
started
so
screaming.
funny.
when there wasn't a mess to pick up because the man was instantly dead.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
he suicided.
Oh Jesus.
But
Boy, getting into government conspiracies.
right? But what was I gonna say? Fuck, I had a topic. Zombie apocalypse.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
say it's like the Walking Dead type zombies, okay? It's just very
JFK
typical.
comes back as a zombie.
It's like really slow, kind of walking zombies. You could
Oh,
probably
yeah,
just
yeah.
fast walk them out of their range, you know? That's those type of zombies. All right?
Yeah.
And let's say like let's set you up in this scenario cuz I feel like it'd be too easy to prepare and get shit at the height of the apocalypse. So let's set you in a month after it's happened. You wake up in a hospital, kind of like a Walking Dead scenario. You wake up.
Actually, I would contest to that. I would say that it's more difficult at when it's
Oh,
breaking out because people are rioting and
everybody's
everyone is
doing it at the same time.
exactly.
Okay, okay. What do
So
you want to be? Do you want to wake up in the hospital bed, or do you want to be the height of it?
do I want to be the Rick Grimes in the hospital bed wake up, or do I want to be in the highway with his family? Is what you're saying?
I think y'all are missing
Yeah,
the point. How about y'all just be like me? Y'all just have an AR with a
just have a
thermal on it. So
homestead, bro.
when
Yeah,
a zombie gets within 300 yards, you just
exactly.
pop its head like a damn water balloon with your
With your
AR.
308
I would no, I
AR-10.
would just be I would rather be at home in Wyoming and
Yep,
have all my
that's the
shit in
perfect
the middle.
scenario. We don't have
I'd
that.
be I'd be in the middle of nowhere, and then people come to fucking in their jeeps come to loot my shit, and I just fucking shoot at them. So
Blow them away, dude. All I'm saying is I've got a thermal on my AR, and my AR is in 5.56, so it's
how
got some
much
pretty
was
good range
that?
on it.
How much
It's
was
like
that
fourteen
thermal?
hundred dollars, dude.
God
It's a
damn.
Thor it's an ATN Thor LT.
Oh,
But basically, it's got an effective. It has an effective visual range of 700 to 800 yards,
that's insane.
and I mean,
But
if a
what's the
zombie
effective range of your rifle though?
5 to 600,
Uh,
Okay, okay.
it's got a precision 1 in 7 twist barrel on it. It's an arrow precision barrel. I mean, it's a good barrel. But basically, like, I mean,
And dude, a sniper's cool.
if the zombie came within, you know,
half
four
a
or 500
mile.
yards of me, I could just pop its damn head like a water balloon with a 5.56 round. I mean, or if somebody came to loot my ass, well, I have a thermal. I have the advantage.
Oh,
Not even
dude.
just that, but it's Texas, dude. I mean, everything's wide open. There's not
There's
a ton of people. I mean,
If there's ever an
there's
invading,
actually
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
no, you go.
I was gonna kind of branch off from that. If there's ever like an invading military, just know that it's very modern for modern militaries to have night vision. So even if you can't see them, they most likely see you, and you're like in
Hmm.
a urban survival scenario. They're gonna see you and they're gonna kill you. I know it's expensive, but please
They
invest in
own the
night
night.
vision. They own the night. Please
or
invest in night vision.
thermals or night vision. Honestly, I
Yeah.
would recommend thermals.
I
Thermals completely trump night vision.
And do not touch your thermal blocking blankets because those the heat will transfer to it and then it shows up. So you want to like set it
Can
up in like a
confirm.
cave entrance so that way it just and don't touch it. That and keep heat away from it. That way it doesn't heat up itself and
Not
give
even
off the
just that,
emission.
dude. My Thor LT, not even a military grade optic. It's a very, very good. It's like a medium grade thermal.
If
It's
you got two to five
if I
grand to
if
blow,
yeah,
it's that.
not even just that. I can stick my hand on the wall for less than 2 seconds. I can turn on that scope and I can see my handprint clear as day. It lights up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah,
awesome. But
yeah.
I was gonna put a side note in. I notice there's a lot of people our age. These aren't the tinfoil hat people that you may have thought of in the early 2000s.
Literally us.
There's a lot
Literally
of
me with my
there's
tinfoil hat.
no. There's a lot of people who are getting into this whole prepping idea now,
Oh
and
yeah, it's more
yeah,
prevalent.
it's really no, it's really awesome. My literally, I have a whole plan in my head set up that uh, about how I want to grow my own food and like sorry to clarify this whole prepping thing isn't inherently about having a bunker or because the nukes are gonna come down and oh I gotta watch out because the zombies man they're coming it's not about prepping for like the imminent death of all things. It's about prepping. It's about being prepared for when SHTF shit hits the fan. That could be, uh, I don't know.
Riots in your city.
Yeah, riots. That could be riots in your city. That could be food
Food
shortages.
shortages, yeah, that's a big one that's really
That could be
prevalent in the
a
States.
hurricane. That could be a tornado. That could be possibly a tyrannical government. That could be anything, right? So all it is to have a line of supplies, right? Just in storage or whatever to maintain normalcy. That's all it is.
It's crazy.
So it's that way you and your family can go about your normal daily routines without having a fear that oh, I don't know if we're gonna make it to till next week because all this shit that is happening over there, but we're over here, but all everything we need to live is over there where the shit is happening. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's like, damn, we only got a couple of cans left to last us, our family of four, the entire week, and we don't
Exactly.
just don't have enough food to go around, you know.
So I would implore anybody to just at least consider it. I don't, because listen, I'm gonna be
Non-perishable
honest.
foods.
No, not even that. Just start gardening.
Yeah,
Grow some microgreens. Get a tote, put some soil in it, put a potato in there, and then you'll get 10 of them by
and
the end
it
of the season.
yeah, and if you
You
live in
know,
like a little
those are
apartment,
very prosperous crops is potatoes, carrots, and corn. Think about that. Think about if you planted 10 seeds, right? You grew these crops up, put all the rest of the seeds in storage, and then planted another 10 seeds from the ones you just grew. You're That's nothing but gain. Your stockpile is gonna do nothing but go up until the point that you have to break into your
It's
stockpile
like owning
and eat it.
excess gold and silver. I mean, why not? It'll just increase
it's
in
only
value.
gonna help you. Yeah,
Exactly. That's it.
and not only that, even if you like your excuse might be living in a small apartment or even a studio apartment, there are people who grow microgreens. They're called microgreens for a reason.
Yeah, yeah, I
Like
said
in
that.
small areas with like UV lights you could buy from local fucking hardware stores to grow
Hmm.
crops inside.
And it's not
This is
like
not expensive or crazy over the top things. I mean, this is just basic stuff you can just buy from the hardware store,
We
like what
just
and
you're
I
doing.
said
want people to be set up to be able to just fucking live. We don't care what your
yeah,
political beliefs are. We just want you to survive. And like it or not, this is probably going to help you in the long run. It's better to have it and not need it than have it and not have
it's
it.
better to know
I
skills than
can't
know
say
no
it.
skills. A jack of all trade but a master of none is still better than a master of none.
There's
Like, you know what I
a
mean?
there's a quote from Joe Rogan I like. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Yeah, no,
That is
that's
100% true.
I heard that from somebody else, but yes, I love that quote. It's the warrior uh farmer mentality, right?
Yeah,
It, no, it's perfect. That's There's nothing else I can say to that quote. It's amazing.
because what it essentially boils down to is being able to be ready in the situation if you need to have it, like taking care of your body, being physically fit, knowing how to shoot, or maybe knowing
Yes,
a real martial
stronger
art.
people, strong. This is another quote. Strong people are more useful and harder to kill.
Yeah, it's like
So,
that old. It's like it's a fucking meme at this point, but you probably heard it where it's like, I think you know exactly what I'm gonna say. Where it's like, strong men create weak times, weak times create, weak men
strong men create weak
create.
times. Weak
No,
men
it's good
create
times.
Yes, strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times, and then hard times create strong men. At this point in the year 2022, I think we're at the height of weak times are creating strong men.
Yeah,
And I implore like anybody listening to this who like really is about going out and doing the things.
any young man or any young
Ba-
woman.
that's a quote from Baron Dependent. Shout out. Go out and do the things, right?
Yeah, if you
Be just be a proactive member of society,
go learn
right?
a skill that's gonna help you in life. Like maybe that's
Hmm.
becoming a pilot. Maybe that's learning how to grow your own fucking food. Maybe that's taking
Be a
care of
trucker.
animals. Yeah. Like learn something that will help
Learn
you
to
in a
weld.
shitty situation. Literally, yeah. Like learn to work with metal. Learn to work with with clay and pots. Like do
Hmm.
something that's gonna help you if shit hits the fan.
Stop just sitting around and doing nothing.
Because if there's an apocalypse or there's a huge citywide riot, the police aren't coming to help you. They're busy trying to keep people from attacking the Capitol building. So learn to protect
Yeah,
yourself, get a gun, learn how to get comfortable using it, be safe with it, and learn MMA.
yes, be safe with and it like once again, like if there's any other people who aren't in America who maybe can't get a gun, try to see if there's ways you can forego that. Since I moved back to Canada, I have a big ass knife that I just keep in a bag, and if it's in your car, There's not much any police officer can do about it. Like that to a police officer is an emergency tool if you get into an accident, which it should very well be. You shouldn't ever want to go out. It's listen, it's not when we talk about owning a gun or having any kind of weapon with you, it's not about being a gangster or
Or
going
being
out and like
hard or being
hurt.
It's about being
Yeah,
masculine.
prepared.
it's not about going out and hurting people. But if somebody else decides to make that decision for you, you're better off not being a sitting duck. You
Exactly. I
know?
implore especially women out of most people to get a gun, get
Yes,
trained, and get comfortable with holding a gun and having one
because if
because
you
they're
want
the
to fight
victims.
toxic masculinity, you should fight it with some 9 millimeter. You know.
Exactly, with a 38 special.
Now
And
I'm not. No, I'm not saying go out and shoot men.
yeah,
No,
we got to put that disclaimer out.
but yeah, but if you feel like, and actually this,
Don't be a
I'll
victim.
I'll talk about, yeah. Don't be a victim. But I'll talk about this on two fronts. If you are in an area where it's unsafe for you to walk around at night, all right, two things you can do. One, own a gun if you can, depending where you live. And two, maybe move out of that area.
Hmm.
Pull together whatever resources you have, i.e., jobs you're working, money, sell whatever wherever you're living, if at all possible, and just move somewhere else if you're unsafe, right?
Yeah.
I.e., San Francisco, New York City, shout out
If
to
you're a
these
cashier in New
shithole
York
area.
City, they need cashiers in Montana. You know?
Yeah,
Like, you don't have to be someone inherently successful to move out of state. And another thing too
so,
is just like we tell people like you don't need a gun, call the police. Well, where are you? What are you gonna do when the police aren't there? Like I live in a relatively large city. I'm the sixth largest
hmm
city in California, and it takes up to 15 minutes for the police to come. There was a dude who was fucking casing out my house one day, and the police were like 10 minutes out. This dude was trying to break in my house when I'm home alone, and I didn't. I was like a teenager at the time, home alone, and the police were 10 minutes out, and I'm just like, oh my fucking god! Like, if he
no, yeah.
broke in this very second, police are 9 minutes out from now.
There wouldn't
Like,
be
It's
shit to be
about
done.
there wouldn't be shit. He'd be long gone.
it's back to the self responsibility, right?
Set
If
yourself up for the best case scenario.
if yeah, but not only that, but if there's shit going down, what wouldn't it be a much more responsible thing for your own self to take charge of the situation instead of relying on a third party to solve all your problems,
Yeah.
right?
When I was
And back to learning skills, if you're gonna own a weapon, you should probably learn first aid.
yes,
I'm
first aid
gonna
is
point
so
that out right
underrated.
now. Yeah, because if you're gonna make holes, you should probably learn how to plug holes up. Because if you're in a situation where you have to shoot at somebody, 90% of the time there's probably somebody shooting back at you. So that's just
Yeah, not
a
even
little
that, but
idea
it's
maybe
like even
to
if you're
to
just
have some first
hiking,
aid skills.
even if you're just hiking and you fucking fall off a cliff and you're in the fucking middle of nowhere, and you got a
Yeah.
fucking busted up leg and you're bleeding out, wouldn't you want to know how to correctly patch that up the best you
hmm
can? Like these are situations that can help you, and learning CPR is like a bare minimum I feel for the general public, if you ask me,
No, yeah. hmm
because that little bit can go such a long way. Um, People
No, yeah.
take too many things for
100%.
granted. They're not self-reliant anymore. I used to be CPR certified, but that was a couple years ago. But it's just
Oh,
self-reliance.
did you not get the update test or whatever?
No. When I did it, I like got the date wrong, and I went like a day late from when I was supposed to take my official test. Like
Yeah, video games.
I'm unofficial. I'm unofficially technically trained in CPR.
No,
Video
all
games be
right.
But
like,
another
yeah,
thing
bro.
too is with a gun, a lot of people will think like, oh well, I don't want to shoot anybody. Well, that's a great thing too because they also teach you in a CCW course de-escalation skills because the shooting is
Yep.
the last thing that happens. That's the very last thing that happens. There's so many things that lead up before that
It
shooting.
usually builds up to that, yes.
Exactly, yeah. And so most likely, statistically speaking, you're not gonna have to shoot anybody. Just holding them at gunpoint is gonna be enough, bare minimum. That's safe. You can't even talk them out. But I guarantee you, it's better to have a gun. Like, let's put you in a scenario. You're a 24-year-old girl in her apartment living by herself. and you're like 120 pounds, and some dude who's
Cause you're a boss bitch, you know.
right,
You're
because
you're out doing the things. You don't need no man, you know. Anyway, I forgo. Keep going.
and yeah, maybe you have a dog, but you know, what is that dog gonna do against a strong man with a baseball bat, or a strong man with a gun? Not even a strong man, just a person with a weapon in general. They could be a crowbar or a baseball bat, and maybe you have a baseball bat or crowbar yourself. But you're a girl going against a guy. You're not gonna win that fight. Like maybe you might know MMA. That's another thing I recommend too.
Yeah,
learn,
bro.
Learn MMA, and it's just gonna help you. You feel more confident about yourself too. There's just so many positive things that happen.
Mhm.
But de-escalation and
Bring
being,
back Sparta, bro.
yeah,
I
be
want
set up.
I wanna bring back the warrior, the warrior civilization,
Like
right?
the
A
Spartans.
civilization of, yes, like Spartans. I want to bring back a group of people. I want to
They had a
bring
lot of
back a
gay sex, bro.
civilization.
Not to
What?
say there's
Oh,
anything
You know
wrong
what?
with that.
That's not too different from today.
I
But
guess.
anyway, I forgo. Um,
I just want
Fucking, what
people
was I
to
gonna say?
not be victims.
I want people to be responsible, and I want people to take ownership of their actions. You
Get
know,
rid of the victim mindset.
exactly. Yes, exactly. So,
All right. Yeah. I think that about does it for today. We about hit
yeah,
2 hours and 30 minutes.
we hit it. Yeah, we hit a bunch of
We hit
different
in there. We
topics.
went in there hard. Whoever watches this and watched the whole thing decides to stay is gonna be based, and they're probably gonna be a longtime fan of the show.
I really hope that happens because I mean, we hit a lot of interesting topics today, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of hoping that maybe people who do, like you were saying, listen to this, kind of get a feel for how we are as young individuals trying to make our way in a new America.
Yep, that was
Yeah.
beautifully said. Mwah.
Yeah, this is. I've known Kitsune or Sheriff for like a long while, but yeah, this is my first time in the show, and I hope I can come back as
Oh, definitely.
often enough.
It's gonna happen. Yeah.
But yeah,
When your back is to
Alright, so
the
that's
floor,
gonna end.
it's hard to be an outlaw
I
when you won't live